The sunset's golden rays shine upon two joyous figures. The sunlight cannot hide the beaming face of the woman looking up at the taller figure, who is a head taller than her. She waves her hands and proudly exclaims, "Father, my soul-purging palm technique has reached a new level today." The one called father had eyes curved in a smile and a slight grin on his lips, nodding, "Good." Suddenly, everything went dark, and fragmented memories were engulfed in a sea of flames. I thought I was the happiest person in the world, but this happiness was taken away in just one night. Her revered father stood in front of the flames, turned back to look at her, his eyes resolute, "Go quickly." The celestial realm was destroyed, and all beings suffered. Why? Why did these people pursue and exterminate us? I am filled with hatred. I must live, I must make those who ruined my life pay, and blood debts must be paid with blood. At that moment, with her vows, a series of thunderbolts struck the mountain below. "Here is Xianwei Kingdom." A fierce voice full of discontent echoed, "Humph, how unlucky. I haven't done anything, and he's already committed suicide." The butcher next to him worriedly said, "Big brother, that person told us to rape first and then deal with her. What should we do now?" Behind the two butchers appeared a tiny figure, covered in wounds, no longer moving. But just a second after the two left, she suddenly opened her eyes and sprang up. As a habit, many questions immediately surfaced in her mind. Where is this place? Why am I here? Who are they? She doubtfully covered her body with one hand, looking at her own hand, her eyes flashing with surprise. "This is not my body." The next moment, a buzzing sound rang in her head, and she clutched her head in pain. "My head hurts." She was groggy, the memories of the previous owner of this body like a heavy slap, accompanied by a disdainful voice. "Dao Tinh Xue, this wretched girl, so ugly yet dares to seduce the third prince." The person speaking, dressed in red, was Dao Tenyun. Beside her was another person dressed in blue, covering their nose, with eyes full of disgust. "This ugly thing, get out of here quickly." The person called Dao Tinh Xue had been beaten until her face was disfigured, her weak body sprawled on the ground. Wan Thian Dan, with worried eyes, hurriedly came to support her and whispered, "Tinh Xue, mother is here. Don't be afraid." A fragment of memory flashed through her mind, leaving only the name Dao Tinh Xue. She frowned. "Dao Tinh Xue, you are also a pitiful person." She struggled to stand up with her body full of wounds, her eyes resolute. "If that's the case, from now on, let the eternal empress be Dao Tinh Xue, and make those who bully and humiliate us pay with blood." At this point, you might have guessed that this woman is the main character. With her celestial identity, it is predicted that in the future, the eternal empress under the name Dao Tinh Xue will change an entire dynasty. On the side, the two butchers were still regretful, discussing. One with a long scar on his face, looking terrifying, spoke, "What a pity. Although her face is somewhat ugly, her body is truly exquisite." He smirked, spitting out the most disgusting words. "How about we take advantage of her still warm body and have some fun?" At this point, the subordinate's face changed color, pointing behind him and stammering, Big brother, behind you." As he turned his head, "Huh? What?" Before he could grasp the situation, a small hand aimed straight for his throat. There was a cracking sound, his eyes rolled back, blood flowed from his orifices, and he died. Having dealt with the difficult one, Dao Tinh Xue casually threw him aside, her gaze as sharp as a knife on the remaining butcher. The scene just now had terrified him, his eyes wide open, mouth agape, shouting, "Ghost! Save me!" But after just a few steps, she grabbed his collar and threw him several meters away. Trembling instinctively, he stammered, Don't kill me. Blame lies with the leader, Dao Tenyun, who ordered us to do this, you." Before he could finish, a cracking sound rang out, and moments later, he too met his end. Suddenly, a mocking voice came from afar. "Ha, how interesting." Dao Tinh Xue cast a wary glance around. "Who?" A man dressed in light blue attire, with fabric that didn't seem ordinary, was riding a white horse. He was assessing her with his clear blue eyes. A first-grade martial artist who hasn't yet reached the level can still kill two third-grade martial artists? Unsure whether the person was friend or foe, she hesitated for a moment and approached him. The man in brown attire gave a forced smile. "I originally intended to see the hero saving the damsel in distress, but unfortunately, she didn't give the chance." The man in blue, showing no interest, coldly closed his eyes and said, "Let's go." As she watched the figure disappear, Dao Tinh Xue began to regain her composure. This man's intentions are difficult to predict, but fortunately, he didn't search for faults. In this world where martial arts are paramount, I must quickly improve my cultivation. In no time, the sky had turned dark. The back door of Dao Manor echoed with incessant cursing and loud clashes. "Get out. Don't you know your place, wanting the divine doctor to treat you?" It turned out to be a wicked old woman bullying Dao Tinh Xue's mother. The son, seeing his mother being bullied for trying to save him, couldn't hold back and advised, "Mother, I'm fine, I don't need a doctor, let's just go home." Despite the pain, Wan Thian remained steadfast, "No. I won't go home. Your father is still gravely ill in bed, I can't lose another son. I'm going to beg Dao Thian, your uncle, he will surely help us for the sake of your father." At this moment, the manor's door opened, and she quickly pleaded, Ten Yun, Auntie is begging you to let us see the divine doctor, please." An elderly woman, weak and frail, was kneeling and clutching the hem of her dress, begging for help. Such a scene would move anyone, yet Dao Tianyun showed no compassion. She turned to the wicked old woman and yelled, "What kind of work are you doing? Don't you know to throw them further away?" The old woman, scared, lowered her head. "I'm sorry, young mistress, I'll do it right away." As soon as she finished speaking, she pounced towards Wan Thian, despite her screaming, "Let me go! Tianyun! Suddenly, a powerful force came from behind, sending the wicked old woman flying several meters away. Dao Tianyun was shocked by the scene. She turned her head and saw it was Dao Tinh Xue, radiating murderous intent, glaring at her. Dao Tianyun's face turned pale. "You stupid girl, Dao Tinh Xue, you're still alive." Tinh Xue didn't bother to argue with her, turning to support her brother and mother. "Brother, let's go home." As the three of them passed by Dao Tianyun, she didn't forget to cast a murderous aura on Tianyun, causing Tianyun to break out in a cold sweat. Puzzled, how can this be? Did those two not kill her? At this moment, the old woman next to her crawled up. "Young mistress, this lowly woman caught me off guard." Tianyun gritted her teeth, taking out her anger on the old woman. "Useless. You can't even deal with a fool, and you still dare to speak." In her heart, she cursed, "Dao Tinh Xue, you escaped today, but you won't escape tomorrow. I won't let this go, just you wait." That night at Bayoni, in Wan Thian's bedroom, she gently brought a bowl of medicine to her mother's bed. "Mother, drink the medicine. Fortunately, the injury is not severe, a few days of rest will heal it." Her mother raised her hand to refuse, frowning slightly as she questioned, "Wait a moment, Tinh Xue, what are the injuries on your body?" She placed the bowl of medicine on the table, pondering, thinking it would be good for her mother and brother to be on guard. She pressed her lips together and reluctantly said, "Dao Tianyun sent people to kill me." Hearing this, Dao Tuanyang stood up angrily. "What? This is too much. I must go seek revenge." But before he could go far, Wan Thian called him back. "Stop. Listen to your sister first. Besides, if you go now, how will you deal with them?" Hearing his mother's reasoning, he reluctantly punched the door frame in frustration. "It's all my fault. If it weren't for my eyes getting injured while sparring with Dao Wanben, my sister wouldn't be bullied like this." Dao Tinh Xue, hearing the name, immediately felt irritated. "It's always the Dao Tianyun family." She reassured him, "Don't be anxious, brother. Didn't I return here safely? The people Dao Tianyun sent have already been dealt with. Sooner or later, I'll exact revenge." Hearing her mention that, Wan Thian became curious. "Tinh Xue, you still haven't said how you managed to defeat that old woman today. What kind of martial arts do you practice?" As if hitting a sore spot, Tinh Xue was momentarily at a loss for an explanation. "Oh dear, this is troublesome. I can't just say I'm not really her daughter and that I'm actually an imposter who transmigrated here," she thought. After pondering for a moment, she came up with a plausible excuse. "Actually, I didn't want to cause trouble for everyone, so I pretended to be foolish. Over the past few years, I've been secretly training on Thiansu Mountain, and my skills have improved." Her mother suddenly fell silent, just looking at her. Tinh Xue began to feel uneasy. Oh no, does that expression mean she believes me or not?" Unexpectedly, Wan Thian laughed, gently touching the tip of her nose. "You sly girl, you're quite good at hiding." She smiled to herself. Got through. After finishing the conversation, she gently covered her mother with the blanket and instructed her, "You should rest first, I'll go visit father." Her mother smiled and nodded. "All right, Tuanyang is still here. You go ahead." After leaving, she headed towards the room of Dao Thian, her father. She opened the door and stepped inside. Behind the curtain was a middle-aged man, his face contorted in pain, lying on the bed. Tinh Xue carefully sat beside the bed. Earlier, she had secretly checked the pulse of her mother and brother, discovering they had both been poisoned. Could her father be as well? She reached out to check Dao Thian's pulse, her eyes widening in shock. This isn't just poisoning. His meridians are severed, his internal organs are damaged, his dantian is shattered, and his head has been severely injured. Who could have done this? In this world, a martial artist is the lowest rank. Above that are 5 other ranks: Martial Master, Martial King, Martial Ancestor, Martial Emperor, and Martial Sovereign. Each rank is divided into 9 smaller levels, from 1st grade to 9th grade. Her mother was once an 8th grade martial artist, but now she has lost all her power. Her brother's body has been deteriorating since Dao Wanben injured his eyes, clearly due to poisoning. Even her own body was disfigured by poison, preventing her from advancing beyond 1st grade martial artist. It seems the person behind the poisoning intends to wipe out the entire family. Just the thought of this sent chills down her spine. I don't dare imagine what crueler acts they might commit beyond this dirty poison. Tinh Xue gently stroked her father's hand. Don't worry. In my previous life, I couldn't protect my emperor father. In this life, I will definitely protect the Dao family. The next morning, outside in the courtyard of Bayonne, the Dao family's residence, the door was violently kicked open with a loud bang. It turned out to be Dao Tenyun, leading a group of followers, coming to cause trouble. Dao Tinh Xue, get out here. Wan Thiandan, inside, heard her voice and sensed trouble. She hurried outside. Tenyun, what do you want? Dao Tenyun arrogantly looked up at the sky. How disrespectful. Aunt, you saw it yesterday. I can't just let her get away with hitting me. She needs to be taught a lesson. With that, she brushed past Wan Thiandan and added threateningly, since you can't discipline your daughter, I'll do it for you. Tenyun turned and ordered her followers to rush inside. Go, drag that wench out here for me. They all responded in unison, yes, ma'am. One of them restrained Wan Thiandan to prevent her from intervening. How dare you? Unexpectedly, before they could enter, Dao Tinh Xue was already standing in front. Who's that mad dog barking so early in the morning? Oh, it's just a bunch of pests kicking down doors. Tired of living, are we? Provoked by the taunting words, Tenyun couldn't swallow her anger. She gritted her teeth and shouted, what are you standing around for? Get her. Dao Tinh Xue smirked. Oh, how reckless. She kicked a few times, and a dozen people fell to the ground, clutching their stomachs or heads. Seeing this, Tenyun's fury intensified. You're the one who's reckless. Dao Tinh Xue, watch this. Seeing her approaching her daughter with murderous intent, Wan Thiandan shouted in alarm, Tinh Xue, run. She's a 4th-rank martial artist now, you can't defeat her. Run. Although he couldn't see, Dao Tuan Yang's ears caught everything. Hearing his mother's words, he couldn't stay put and rushed forward to help his sister. But he was a step too late. Tenyun leapt into the air, channeling all her strength into her hand for a decisive strike. Unexpectedly, Tinh Xue wasn't afraid. Her eyes sparkled with defiance. You think you can beat me? In the next second, she vanished without a trace. What? She's gone? Before Tenyun could figure out Tinh Xue's position, she was hit with a powerful kick in the stomach, sending her crashing to the ground, even spitting blood. Though her body couldn't move, her mouth was still active, cursing, you bitch, how dare you ambush me? But before she could continue, Tinh Xue's overwhelming presence stifled her. Dao Tenyun, since you've come to my door, let's settle the old scores. This oppressive aura was no joke, suddenly making it impossible for Tenyun to resist. Fear welled up inside her. What are you planning to do? I'm warning you, my mother won't let this slide. Before she could finish her sentence, she received a resounding slap from Tinh Xue. This slap is for bullying my mother and brother. And this one is for bribing people to assault and kill me, trying to ruin my reputation. This slap is for the years of verbal abuse you've hurled at me. And this one is for your constant, unrepentant harassment. Finally, this slap is for your shameless audacity and lawless behavior. With each sentence, Tinh Xue put her full force into each strike across Tenyun's face. After a while, Tenyun's face was swollen like a pig's, and it was only when Tinh Xue's hand grew tired that she stopped. Before turning to leave, Tinh Xue lowered her voice, take your martial artists and master and get out of my house. Her gaze was as sharp as a knife, intimidating anyone who saw it. Without hesitation, 2 servants quickly carried their master and left the premises. Tuan Yang, having witnessed everything, couldn't help but admire her. Since when did my sister become so powerful? That was a fantastic beating. Dao Tinh Xue, hands on her hips, began to boast, brother, your sister is even more powerful than that. But their mother did not share the same sentiment. As soon as the confrontation ended, she hurriedly rushed inside to pack their belongings. Tinh Xue, you injured Tenyun this time. Your second uncle will definitely not let this go. I've packed your things. Run, and don't let anyone see you. Go as far as you can and don't come back. Dao Tinh Xue patted her mother reassuringly. Mother, don't worry too much. I'll be fine. You should rest in your room and take care of yourself. After returning to her room, she looked at her reflection in the mirror and couldn't help but touch her face a few times. Ah, the scar is fading. Could fighting just now actually be a way to detoxify? She examined her face from different angles, realizing that it increasingly resembled her old self. Not only that, but there was also a power within her that she couldn't control. I don't know what's happening, but next time, I need to get stronger quickly before Dao Tenyun comes to cause trouble. Meanwhile, in Dao Tianheng's residence, in the room of Ouyang Qij, a high-ranking official was enjoying his breakfast when he heard the distressed voice of a maid from Dao Tenyun's side. "Madam, it's bad news. The young lady has been injured by Dao Tinh Xue." She stood up abruptly. "What did you say?" She quickly made her way to her daughter's room. Upon entering, she saw the doctor treating Dao Tenyun. Ouyang Qij asked anxiously, "Doctor, how is my daughter?" The elderly doctor replied reluctantly, "The young lady has 2 broken ribs, a fractured collarbone, and a swollen face. She also has multiple abrasions. I can treat her injuries, but it will take up to 2 months to fully heal. However, if we had a Thung Dan healing pill, she would recover completely in just 3 days." Ouyang Qij frowned. "All right, I will find a way to get the Thung Dan pill. Han Ni, take the doctor to prepare the medicine." The maid bowed. "Yes, madam." Having understood the situation, Ouyang Qij turned and ordered, "Summon the masters to meet me at Bayonne. I will definitely skin that wench alive." Meanwhile, back at Bayonne, in the courtyard of Dao Tinh Xue's house, everyone was gathered preparing food. She was helping her mother. "Mother, I want to eat the mung bean cakes you make tonight." They had barely settled down when trouble struck again. From the entrance came a loud voice, "It seems lively here today." Ouyang Qij entered with a fierce aura, clearly intending to cause trouble. Like mother, like daughter. "Wan Thian Dan, tell your wretched daughter to come out here." Knowing the reason for her visit, Wan Thian Dan instinctively shielded Tinh Xue and tried to reason. "Ouyang Qij, it was Tenyun who attacked first. Don't be unreasonable." Ouyang Qij sneered disdainfully. "Ha! What a sharp tongue. You call me unreasonable? Wasn't it your daughter who hit someone? But fine, if the upper beam is not straight, the lower ones will go crooked. Today, I'll teach her a proper lesson for you." Hearing such bold words only piqued the young girl's curiosity. Dao Tinh Xue stepped forward with a mysterious smile. "Second aunt, such a grand spectacle. Do you really need so many 4th-rank martial experts for a small girl like me? Are you afraid you can't defeat me on your own?" Her words struck a nerve. Although Ouyang Qij didn't show it outwardly, her eyebrows furrowed. She retorted, still trying to save face, "I don't need to dirty my hands dealing with you." With that, she ordered, "What are you waiting for? Kill her." At her command, the group of experts charged towards Tinh Xue. She sneered, "If that's the case, I can't let second aunt's intentions go to waste. A bit of practice with these people won't be bad." In a flash, Tinh Xue had taken down the entire group of large-built experts. She cast a meaningful glance at Ouyang Qij and said, "Second aunt, how did I do?" Tuan Yang, hearing none of it, had already positioned himself in front of Tinh Xue. "Don't even think about it. Ouyang Qij, if you want something, take it out on me. Don't harm my sister." But to Ouyang Qij, his words carried no weight. With a mere flick of her hand, she sent him flying several meters away. "Get lost, and stop this brother-sister act in front of me." Seeing her brother being bullied, Tinh Xue gritted her teeth and glared at Ouyang Qij. "I will kill you." Before she could unleash her move, Ouyang Qij easily grabbed her by the neck, tightening her grip gradually. "Ha, you're seeking your own death." In that critical moment, with her life hanging by a thread, Tinh Xue thought to herself, "Am I really going to be defeated like this? I refuse to accept it." It seemed that this intense will activated something within her. She felt a familiar surge of power welling up inside her. Astonished, she realized, this is the soul purging palm technique, my martial skill from my past life. I can't believe it still exists within me. The situation immediately changed. A golden light emanated from around her, enveloping Ouyang Qij, as Tinh Xue absorbed all of her strength. "What's happening? My power is disappearing. This isn't right, there's something off about this girl," Yang Qij thought, stunned. Realizing the danger, Ouyang Qij tried to retreat, but Tinh Xue was quicker. She grabbed Ouyang Qij's wrist and pulled her back, while her other hand clamped down on her throat, emitting a cracking sound. Yang Qij could only whisper, "Help me." Moments later, her eyes rolled back, her hair turned white, and she collapsed unconscious on the spot. Due to releasing a vast amount of energy in a short period, Tinh Xue's mortal body couldn't withstand it and she collapsed, unconscious. After taking a nap in her room, Tinh Xue finally woke up and I immediately saw her mother beside her. Dao Tinh Xue couldn't help but ask, "Mother, how is Tuan Yang? Is he okay?" Wan Thian Dan gently stroked her cheek, reassuring her, don't worry, we still have a healing pill in the house. I've already given it to him, and he will recover in 3 days. After saying that, she didn't linger long and left the room. However, her mood suddenly sank. Inside the room, with no one around, Dao Tinh Xue concentrated on her Thai and Dan, trying to explore a bit. What is this thing that can help me accumulate the power of Yu Yang Kij and prevent me from self-destructing? Interesting. She didn't know how many hours had passed, but eventually, she finished exploring. To her surprise, after absorbing Yu Yang Kij's inner strength, she went from being a useless person not even at the level of a first-rank martial artist to advancing to the 7th rank. The toxins in her body also weakened. It seems that with some cultivation, she could soon detoxify herself. Since she transmigrated into this body, she hadn't had a chance to stroll through the streets even once. But the opportunity to break free and enjoy the scenery a bit was quite appealing. She delightedly looked around, left and right, finding the place bustling with activity. Who knows, maybe she could even find a cure for her father's illness. As she passed by a vendor's stall, the shopkeeper called out, "Come here, take a look. Everything's just 3 copper coins. 3 copper coins, and you can choose anything." Despite the enticing offer, it didn't catch her interest, and she didn't even glance at the stall as she walked past it. Suddenly, her hand emitted a golden light, and she was abruptly pulled backward. Reflexively, she swung her other hand through the air and fortunately managed to grab onto the collar of a man. Seeing that she was about to fall, the man quickly caught her wrist and pulled her waist toward him, gently saying, "Careful." Knowing she had acted improperly, she quickly stood up and apologized, "Sorry, I didn't mean to." Now having the chance to clearly see the face before her, the man's attitude suddenly changed, becoming extremely cold. "I didn't expect it to be you. I'm fine." He then uttered a single sentence and walked away. "Wait. I feel like I've seen him somewhere before." She started to ask, but he had already disappeared. Suddenly, a voice behind her said, "Hey, are you going to buy this or not?" It turned out to be the lady running the stall from earlier. She was holding a half-eaten lemon in her hand, looking regretful. "What's the deal here? If you're not buying, put the item down. That young man just now was really handsome. Why wasn't it me who got to be held by him, huh?" Hearing the shopkeeper's reminder, she looked down at her hand. She didn't know when it happened, but there was now a seemingly ordinary bottle in her grasp. "What is this? Why is it in my hand?" No matter how much she shook her hand, the bottle wouldn't fall off. Frustrated, she had no choice but to buy it. "Here, I'll buy this," she said, handing over the money. The shopkeeper happily accepted the payment and cheerfully thanked her. After dealing with the purchase, she turned around to search for the man from earlier, but he had already disappeared long ago. Where did he go? The young man from before, his hand was so cold, and it felt like his entire body was full of cold energy. Is he sick or something? Never mind, I have other things to worry about. In a distant corner, one of the man's subordinates spoke up, "Wasn't that the woman who killed 2 corrupt officials that day? I didn't expect her cultivation to have increased so quickly. But it seems she didn't recognize us." The blue-eyed man didn't bother to respond, simply staring intently at his hand, a flicker of curiosity rising within him. Was it just his imagination, or had he really felt a bit of warmth from her body just now? The subordinate of Bai Li Yuhua, seeing that his master wasn't responding, grew bolder and continued to chatter incessantly, "Young master, haven't you always avoided letting others touch you? Why did you catch her just now? Could it be that you've taken a liking to her? But I must say, she's a bit plain-looking. What are you thinking about, young master? Why aren't you paying attention to me?" Lost in his thoughts, the young master had already walked some distance away before the subordinate realized, "Hey, young master, wait for me." Meanwhile, she finally arrived at her destination, standing in front of the shop with a heavy heart. "Tinh Xue, these are some of my jewels and treasures. We're out of money at home, so take these to the pawn shop," her mother had said. "Mother, don't worry. These are precious memories of you and father. I will reclaim them for you both one day," she had replied. With determination, she stepped into the shop and handed over the jewelry box. "Shopkeeper, how much for this?" she asked. The shopkeeper examined the items and replied, 100 taels of gold. From a distance, a voice suddenly rang out, "Oh, so it's the ugly, useless wretch from the Dao family. Where's your good-for-nothing brother? It's been a while since I last saw him, and my hands are itching for a fight." The shopkeeper immediately bowed respectfully, "Young master, you're here." His words were full of contempt, and they filled her with disgust. Without even bothering to look at him, she replied, "Ah, it's the mad dog of the Yu Yang family Kong Bang Fei, isn't it? What's the matter? Did your master forget to feed you today, so you came out to bite people randomly?" He was used to insulting others, but now, being humiliated by her, his anger flared up, and he couldn't swallow the insult. "You wretched girl, seems like you're tired of living today." Unable to win the verbal spar, he raised his hand to strike her. But, in a flash, she slapped him hard, sending him flying out of the shop. He let out a cry of pain, and the people around him quickly rushed over, calling out, "Young master, young master." He fell right in front of a carriage just as it passed by. A delicate hand, pale and slender, lifted the curtain, revealing a gentle voice, "What is going on here?" As the curtain was drawn back, the figure of a beautiful woman was revealed. Dressed in a purple gown that accentuated her snow-white skin, she was so striking that anyone who saw her couldn't help but exclaim in awe, "My goodness, it's the genius maiden Tan Mong Jiao." Upon being addressed by name, she didn't hesitate to introduce herself confidently, "That's right, it's me." Despite her young age, she had already reached the level of an 8th-grade martial artist, the only person in the Tanwei Kingdom with a fire attribute in recent years. "She's so beautiful, I feel like my life wasn't wasted," someone murmured in admiration. Tan Mong Jiao stepped forward, surveying the scene. It took only a glance for her to recognize him. "Well, isn't this young Master Kong? How did you end up in this state? Did you offend a customer of the pawn shop?" The shopkeeper, not wanting to get involved, quickly prepared the money and handed it to her. "Here, this is the 100 taels of gold for you, miss." Her sharp eyes immediately caught sight of another familiar face. "Isn't this Dao family's elder sister? Since I'm good friends with Ten Yun, I'll boldly call you sister, Tinh Xue." With a smile, Tan Mong Jiao continued, "No matter what misunderstanding you have with young Master Kong, there's no need to be so harsh, right? I see that you've vented your anger already, so why not let it go and come here instead?" Although Tan Mong Jiao's words sounded gentle, Tinh Xue found them utterly fake. To her, anyone associated with Dao Tenyun was a hypocrite. Just hearing that name made her skin crawl. She frowned and responded coldly, "What does this have to do with you?" With just that one sentence, the gossiping crowd erupted in outrage. How could she speak to Lady Tan Mong Jiao like that? She was just trying to be kind, they muttered. Exactly, others echoed, clearly displeased with Tinh Xue's bluntness. Seizing the opportunity, Tan Mong Jiao quickly shifted to a pitiful tone, tears flowing as she cried out, "Third Prince, your fiancé is so fierce. Won't you step in and stand up for me?" From inside the carriage, a voice laced with disdain responded, My fiancé? What a joke." The man sitting inside let out a cold laugh before continuing, "She's nothing but a troublesome tag along. I have never acknowledged this engagement." Dao Tinh Xue cast a cold glance at him, her eyes filled with disdain. The third prince is right, if there's anyone to blame, it's Tinh Xue for not having sharp enough eyes in the beginning. Otherwise, how could she have allowed stray cats and dogs to catch her attention? The third prince gritted his teeth in anger, "You." Tan Mong Jiao, pretending to be understanding, gently embraced him and advised, "Third prince, you know that Tinh Xue has always been naive and unaware of proper etiquette. Please, be the bigger person and don't hold it against her." The third prince calmed down, resting his hand on his forehead as he smiled, "Meng Jiao, you're right. Getting angry over such a vulgar woman is truly not worth it." He glanced at Kong Bang Fei, who lay unconscious on the ground, and added, "Meng Jiao, I know you have a kind heart and don't like to see such things, but you can't interfere in everything. Missing the feast I prepared for you would be unacceptable." Tan Mong Jiao sighed, "All right, but I still want to advise Tinh Xue to be more tolerant and do more good deeds." Dao Tinh Xue furrowed her brows and spoke coldly, "Very well. Since you've said so, I'll help Kong Gongzi today as a good deed." With that, she raised her hand, and with a loud bang, the shop behind her exploded. It would be a pity to leave the silver in the Kong family's shop unused. Why not use it to help the people instead? Silver coins scattered everywhere, and while the third prince and Tan Mong Jiao stood in stunned silence, the crowd around them erupted in excitement, rushing to grab the money. Quick, pick up the money. So much money. People trampled over each other in a mad scramble, shouting, "Over there. Don't fight, it's mine. Give it back?" As chaos unfolded before them, the third prince and Tan Mong Jiao's faces turned grim. Dao Tinh Xue walked up to Tan Mong Jiao and said calmly, "Let me offer you some advice as well, stop conspiring to do such things. After all, the title of filthy couple isn't something anyone wants to be associated with." With those words, she turned and walked away, leaving Tan Mong Jiao seething with anger, her face pale. Dao Tinh Xue, that wretched woman. 3 days later, at Mount Thiansu, Dao Tinh Xue carried a large basket on her back and held a small shovel in her hand as she went into the forest to gather herbs. These herbs may not be rare, but they can still be exchanged for essential living items, she muttered to herself. The family can't survive forever by pawning belongings. Suddenly, a growling sound came from behind her. Dao Tinh Xue warily turned around. What was that sound? Deep in the forest, a fierce black bear was chasing a ginseng root. Dao Tinh Xue hid in a corner, her eyes widening in astonishment as she watched the ginseng root run away. A ginseng that can run, she thought, realizing it was no ordinary root. A 1,000-year-old ginseng. Only a divine-level royal alchemist could cultivate such a spiritual creature. How could it possibly appear here? Her expression suddenly changed. Something was wrong. The ginseng root had been cornered by the brown bear, its whole body trembling in fear. It squeezed its eyes shut and wrapped its tiny arms around its head. Suddenly, there was a loud crash. Dao Tinh Xue had struck down the brown bear, leaving it unconscious on the ground. That was close, she muttered, still surprised. I didn't expect this black bear to have the strength of an 8th-rank martial artist. It looks like its spirit pill will fetch a good price. She raised the purple pill taken from the bear's body, then carefully stored it away. A moment later, Dao Tinh Xue smiled, sat down, and poked the ginseng with her finger. Hey, little one, it's safe now. Ancient spirit creatures like you are highly coveted, so it's best you hurry home. The ginseng looked up at her curiously, then jumped up and hugged her face, squeaking in gratitude. Dao Tinh Xue chuckled at it. All right. Seeing the ginseng tugging at her clothes, Dao Tinh Xue looked at it in surprise. Huh? Do you still need help? The ginseng pointed ahead and forcefully pulled her towards a cliff. Dao Tinh Xue looked down and smiled wryly. I'm afraid. Suddenly, the ginseng pushed her off the cliff. Dao Tinh Xue was shocked, her mouth agape as she quickly fell. Suddenly, her body floated in mid-air. Dao Tinh Xue opened her eyes in surprise. As her feet touched the ground, she was once again astonished by the scene before her. She found herself in a library filled with countless books and numerous jars of herbs. Could this place be the training ground of a high-level alchemist? Suddenly, a squeaking sound came from behind her. Dao Tinh Xue turned around, surprised to see a stone door with a ceiling formation. Suddenly, a golden force pulled her hand towards the stone door. Dao Tinh Xue was drawn close, her hand stuck to the ceiling formation, unable to pull it back. Blood seeped from her palm and onto the formation, which began to activate. Damn it, I can't pull away, and my strength is fading. Bang! With a loud noise, Dao Tinh Xue's body was flung backward, and she fell hard to the ground, unconscious. Who knows how much time passed before Dao Tinh Xue gradually regained consciousness. A voice said, little girl, little girl. Dao Tinh Xue opened her eyes in surprise. Huh? An old man with white hair and a white beard smiled at her. You're awake, you're awake. The old man's brilliance still exists, ha ha ha. The ginseng on the old man's shoulder squeaked at her. Dao Tinh Xue stared blankly at the old man. Who are you? The old man smiled. You ask who I am? I once shook the heavens and the earth, stood at the pinnacle of the world, revered by thousands, with countless people going mad over a single pill of mine. The martial world calls me the flame alchemist ancestor. Dao Tinh Xue looked at the alchemist with a skeptical expression. Oh. The alchemist was furious, pointing at her and scolding. What do you mean, oh? Your reaction is too ordinary. Want a 6th-grade healing pill? Only now did Dao Tinh Xue react. A 6th-grade healing pill? The alchemist smugly stroked his beard. Of course, this is nothing to me. Little girl, what do you think about letting me borrow your body for cultivation? We can also connect with my spiritual consciousness. Dao Tinh Xue coolly bowed and prepared to leave. The alchemist was stunned, unable to believe it, as he watched her. Wait, don't go. I'm now just a remnant soul with no power. Inside your body, I'll be dispersed into nothingness. I promise to behave in your consciousness, I won't interfere with you. The old man pointed to the piles of herbs on the shelves. If you agree, all these precious herbs, the storage ring, all the herbs in this cave, and even it. The old man pointed at the 1,000-year-old ginseng, which squeaked in surprise. The alchemist pitifully pleaded. All of it will be yours, I beg you. Dao Tinh Xue sighed. All right, I'll reluctantly agree. The alchemist jumped for joy. At Dao Tinh Xue's residence in the Bayonne courtyard, the sky had already darkened as she walked in with a basket of herbs on her back, smiling. Mom, I'm home. I gathered a lot of herbs today. Suddenly, her eyes narrowed as she saw the ruined courtyard, and her heart sank as she noticed Dao Tuan Yang and Wan Thian Dan lying unconscious at the entrance. Dao Tinh Xue shouted in panic. Mom! Little brother! She quickly ran over to support Dao Tuan Yang. What happened? Everything was fine when I left. What on earth happened? The alchemist appeared behind her, frowning. Little girl, calm down. The little ginseng's healing ability is top-notch, your mother and brother will be fine, don't worry. The ginseng jumped from the alchemist's shoulder and floated in the air, starting to heal Dao Tuanyang and Wan Thian Dan. Their wounds gradually closed. Soon, Dao Tuanyang began to react, coughing. Dao Tinh Xue anxiously held him up. Tuanyang, how are you? What happened today? Dao Tuanyang quickly said. I'm fine. It was uncle, he said he wanted to seek justice for Dao Tenyun and Yu Yang Keej. He gritted his teeth in anger. He also said he wanted to take father away. Dao Tinh Xue's expression changed. What did you say? In Wan Thian Dan's bedroom, Dao Tinh Xue frowned as she looked at Dao Tuanyang. Tuanyang, mother's body is still weak, she can't recover quickly. Stay home and take care of her. As Dao Tinh Xue was about to leave, Dao Tuanyang called her back. Sister. Dao Tinh Xue squinted her eyes. I'm going to bring father back. Late at night in the ancestral hall of the Dao family, everyone in the room was furious, condemning Dao Tinh Xue. This Dao Tinh Xue doesn't know how to respect her elders or care for her juniors. She hits her seniors and bullies her sisters, completely disgraceful. She doesn't know how to raise her daughter and are unworthy of being the first wife of the Dao family. Dao Thianhung spoke up. Respected elders, my elder brother is currently unconscious, bedridden, and unable to discipline his children. As the second son of the Dao family, I have no other choice but to bring my brother back. Therefore, I must ask the elders to decide how to deal with Mrs. Wan and her daughter. An elderly man with a bald head angrily slapped the table and stood up. For many years, though Thian Vien has been the nominal head of the Dao family, in reality, all matters have been handled by Thian Hung. Now that the family head's recovery is uncertain, I propose that we allow Dao Thian Hung, the second son of the Dao family, to inherit the position of family head. What do you say? Another elder nodded in agreement. Thian Hung has been a shining example in the Dao family and is well suited to take on the role of family head. Excellent choice. The bald elder continued, eagerly. As for Mrs. Wan and her daughter. Suddenly, a cold, mocking voice echoed from outside the door. Dao Tinh Xue walked in with a frosty gaze. No need for the elders to trouble themselves over this matter. Dao Thian Hung and the three others in the room looked out the door in surprise. Dao Tinh Xue had already subdued the servants, stepping in with determination in her eyes. The steward, struggling and with a swollen face, stood up and reported. The eldest miss is here. Dao Tinh Xue frowned, looking at Dao Thian Hung. If second uncle returns my father, I swear here and now that I will never return to the Dao family in this lifetime. Dao Thian Hung was taken aback, narrowing his eyes before giving a cold laugh, then pretending to be concerned. What nonsense are you talking about, child? We're all family. Since elder brother is severely injured, it's only natural that I, as your second uncle, should take care of you. If you bow and apologize to your second aunt, I'm sure the elders won't give you a hard time. Dao Tinh Xue laughed bitterly. In recent years, our family has been sick and injured, forced upon our belongings just to survive. Is that what second uncle calls care? The three in the room were shocked, murmuring among themselves. Is that true? It seems the main house hasn't had an easy time these past years. Dao Thian Hung awkwardly laughed, hastily explaining. Tin Xue, little girl, you must have misunderstood your second uncle. Dao Tinh Xue coldly interrupted him. Second uncle, there's no need for more words. I'm here to find my father. Either you return him to me, and I'll leave the Dao family, or, you're a smart man, I'm sure you know what to choose. Dao Thian Hung feigned a sigh, pretending to be concerned. Sigh, I suppose elder brother wouldn't be at ease if your mother and you were troubled. If you insist on leaving, I won't stop you. Someone, return elder brother to Bayonne. The steward respectfully responded. Yes, master. At Bayonne, in Dao Thian Vien's room. The ginseng spirit used its spiritual power to heal, sighed wearily, and slumped down with a squeak. Squeak. The herbalist was serious. Little ginseng can heal external wounds, but as for your father's severe internal injuries, its ability is limited. Moreover, your father has been poisoned. Dao Tinh Xue anxiously asked. Is there any hope for a cure? The herbalist smiled confidently. Of course. Don't you know who I am? I'm the Flame Master Herbalist. But then he sheepishly scratched his head. However, my current power is still insufficient, and I need more time to recover. Dao Tinh Xue raised an eyebrow, looking at the old man along with the ginseng spirit. The herbalist, annoyed, shouted. What's with those expressions? Humph, here. Handing a prescription to Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue took it, bewildered. What is this? The herbalist confidently raised a thumb. This is the medicine to treat your brother's eyes and detoxify him. Remember back in the day, I roamed the 4 seas, unmatched by anyone. So, I can still handle this little injury. Suddenly, the herbalist sensed something, quickly pulling the ginseng spirit back into Dao Tinh Xue's consciousness. Dao Tuanyang opened the door and quietly spoke. Sister, mother is asleep. I came to visit you and father. Dao Tinh Xue smiled at him. Father will be fine. Come on in. Dao Tuanyang remained silent, lowering his head. Dao Tinh Xue patted his head, comforting him. Are you worried about moving? Don't worry, sister will find a way. Dao Tuanyang's face was filled with guilt. It's not that. I just feel like I haven't been able to help much. Actually, mother is very worried, she even told me to give you this money. He said, handing a small pouch of money to Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue, touched, let out a small laugh. Silly brother, do you not trust your sister? She sighed, taking the money pouch. All right, I'll take this. Mother must still be awake. I'll go talk to her and tell her that all she needs to do is pack up and get ready to move. Dao Tuanyang smiled and agreed. All right, I'll go right away. The next morning, at Tong Fong auction house. Dao Tinh Xue, wearing a different outfit, with a veil covering her face, entered Tong Fong auction house, thinking to herself. The first step to becoming wealthy starts here. This is probably the largest auction house in Qishui City. Whether buying or selling, this is the quickest way. Shopkeeper Tong Weiguo saw a customer arrive and greeted her with a smile. What would you like to sell, honored guest? Dao Tinh Xue produced a few medicinal herbs. Tong Weiguo's face changed upon seeing the herbs, his body stiffening. Could these be the top-grade herbs that haven't been seen in ages? His demeanor shifted to one of respect. Honored guest, please step inside. Dao Tinh Xue, not standing on ceremony, entered and took a seat. Tong Weiguo stood respectfully by her side, and after a moment, the door to the room opened, and an elderly man with white hair hurried in. Li Wanbai anxiously asked. Where are the herbs? Show them to me quickly. Tong Weiguo respectfully introduced him. This is the foremost royal herbalist of our Tong Fong auction house, Master Li Wanbai. Dao Tinh Xue produced a few more herbs. Please, Master, take a look. Li Wanbai was astonished upon seeing the herbs. This is 5-element true essence herb, resurrection herb of 8 reincarnations, sky cloud herb, and even 9 heavens primordial infant herb. These are all ancient herbs. Dao Tinh Xue trembled, her lips twitching, and asked. May I ask, how much can these herbs sell for? I'm in a bit of a hurry. Would it be possible to keep some back for now? Li Wanbai, eager to please, replied. Of course. How about 8,000 gold coins? Once they're sold, you can come back for the remaining amount. Dao Tinh Xue smiled and agreed, thinking. All right, I didn't expect to get so much, this is enough to buy a villa. She pulled out a piece of paper from her sleeve and handed it to Li Wanbai. I have one more request that might be a bit much. I need the herbs on this list. Could your auction house help me find them? Money is no object. Li Wanbai took the paper and scanned it. Certainly. Since you entrusted us with this, I will do my utmost. However, some of the herbs on this list may take some time to locate. I hope you can wait a little longer. Dao Tinh Xue smiled. Thank you for your trouble. Dao Tinh Xue raised the ring containing her items and observed the contents. Everything's here, she noted. In that case, I'll go check the villa today. Suddenly, the sky thundered, and rain began pouring down heavily. Dao Tinh Xue covered her head with her hands and hurriedly ran forward. The sudden weather change caught her off guard, and she didn't notice a person in her path, colliding with him. Ouch! She fell to the ground, feeling a chill as if she had hit an ice block. Bai Liyuhua also fell to the ground, his face pale. Dao Tinh Xue looked at him in surprise and then cautiously asked. Hey, are you all right? I didn't mean to. Bai Liyuhua closed his eyes, his brows furrowed tightly, and didn't respond. Dao Tinh Xue was startled to realize that this person seemed familiar. I can't believe it's him, but what's wrong with him, she thought to herself before quickly taking his pulse. Suddenly, Bai Liyuhua flipped his hand, grabbing hers tightly. Huh? She was taken aback. Bai Liyuhua opened his eyes, his voice weak, warm, so warm. Dao Tinh Xue was pulled down forcefully as Bai Liyuhua hugged her tightly around the waist. Dao Tinh Xue was shocked and embarrassed, trying to push him away. Hey, what are you doing? Let go. Don't move, just a little while longer, so cold, it's really cold. The two lay under the rain, holding each other for a long time. A mother and her child passed by, the little boy curiously asking. Mother, look, why are they lying like that? The woman quickly covered the boy's eyes, whispering. Children shouldn't see such things, let's hurry home. In the distance, Six Veem frantically searched everywhere. This is bad. Why did it have to rain now? The extreme cold poison of the young master. This is bad. If the Empress Dowager finds out, I'm as good as dead. He muttered to himself while walking, then looked up at the sky, pleading, "Young master, please come out. I know I was wrong, I won't sneak off to buy food again." Just then, the mother and child walked past, and the boy asked his mother again, "Mother, why were you lying on the bridge just now? Why wasn't I allowed to look?" The woman sternly admonished, "No reason, just keep quiet." Hearing this, Sixveem was stunned, and then he suddenly realized something. He quickly ran towards the bridge. "Young master." "Ah!" The rain finally stopped. On the bridge, Bai Liyuhua slowly opened his eyes and saw Dao Tinh Xue lying next to him. "What happened? Why is she here? Could it be that the warmth I felt was from her?" Dao Tinh Xue looked at him and then reminded him. "Now that you're awake, let go of me. How long are you planning to hold on?" Bai Liyuhua was startled, just as Sixveem arrived, panting heavily. "Young master, I'm here." Dao Tinh Xue turned around to look at Shi Yan, then stood up. "Your man has come to find you, so I'll be leaving now." Sixveem saw his young master lying on Dao Tinh Xue's lap, and his face went blank, unable to say a word. Dao Tinh Xue stood up, and before leaving, she reminded him. "You have a cold condition, it's best not to wander around in weather like this. Otherwise, next time there might not be a girl to warm you up." After saying that, she left. Bai Liyuhua sat on the ground, laughing. Is my cold condition really so simple, that just someone warming me up can cure it? Who would have thought the antidote could be a kind-hearted girl? Sixveem was bewildered, then suddenly had a thought. "Young master, you just laughed, and it was because of a girl, and a plain-looking girl at that? Am I dreaming?" "Your Highness, no, the young master. You smiled, and at a young woman, no less. And she's not even beautiful. Am I going insane?" He couldn't believe it, clutching his face in disbelief. "Who am I? Where am I? What just happened? I'm Sixveem, a loyal guard. But lately, our cold and aloof young master has been moved by a plain-looking girl. I'm so confused, what should I do?" Sixveem clutched his head, crying out in despair. At Bayoni, Dao Tinh Xue's home. As dusk fell, Dao Tinh Xue returned home, joyfully embracing her mother, Wan Thai and Dan. "Mother, I've bought a villa. Let's pack up tonight and move in tomorrow." Wan Thai and Dan was surprised and asked, "What? How did it happen so quickly? Where is this villa?" Dao Tinh Xue smiled and gently pushed her mother inside. "Mother, you go pack first, and I'll answer all your questions later. Hurry up." Wan Thai and Dan sighed, shaking her head. "Oh, this girl." In Dao Tinh Xue's room, the next day. Dao Tinh Xue was packing her clothes when she accidentally knocked over a vase, causing it to shatter on the floor. She stared blankly at the vase, then realized. "Isn't this the jar I was forced to buy before? I completely forgot about it." She picked up an item from the vase, raising it in amazement. "The White Mist Secret Realm?" At that moment, Wan Thai and Dan's voice echoed from outside. "Tin Xue, have you finished packing? Come help me." Dao Tinh Xue quickly hid the White Mist Secret Realm on herself and hurried out. "Coming." In Dao Tenyun's room. Dao Wanben stood by Dao Tenyun's bed, furiously grabbing the collar of a nearby servant. "Who dared to harm my little sister to this extent?" Dao Tianyun weakly tried to sit up. "Brother, you've finally returned from the academy." It was Dao Tinh Xue, cough cough. "Brother, you must help me." Dao Wanben clenched his fists in anger. At Dao Tinh Xue's new residence. Servants and maids were already waiting at the door. Dao Tinh Xue stepped down from the carriage, smiling as she looked at the villa before her. "Mother, little brother, this place will be our home from now on." Although Dao Tuanyang couldn't see, he could sense that this place was extraordinary. Wan Thai and Dan was astonished. "This." A maid hurriedly approached, smiling as she greeted them. "Xiao Lan, greetings, madam. We are the maids of this residence. I am Xiao Lan. I will be in charge of madam's daily life from now on." Another maid then invited Dao Tuanyang inside. "Second young master, your room has been prepared. Please follow me." Wan Thai and Dan, puzzled by the unfamiliar surroundings, watched as a servant respectfully approached Dao Tinh Xue, reporting, "Miss, today someone from the Dongfang trading house sent word, inviting you over." Dao Tinh Xue smiled, thinking to herself, the Herbs must have news by now. Master Wenbai is really efficient. She turned to Wan Thai and Dan and quickly said, "Mother, I have to go out for a bit. If you need anything, just ask Xiao Lan." Wan Thai and Dan watched her daughter's departing figure and sighed helplessly. This girl, always in such a hurry. At Dongfang Trade House Hang. Tong Weiguo respectfully said, "Miss Dao, please come inside." Dao Tinh Xue, wearing a veil, gracefully entered. Li Wanbai was sipping tea, and upon seeing her, he stood up and handed her a small wooden box. Li Wanbai cheerfully said, "Please have a seat, miss. The herbs have been gathered, they are all in this box." Dao Tinh Xue smiled and accepted the box. "Thank you, master." Li Wanbai looked at her carefully, his tone slightly curious. "I wonder, miss, are you an alchemist?" Dao Tinh Xue was startled and looked at the old man before her. "Master, why do you ask that?" Li Wanbai smiled, rubbing his hands together. "Forgive me for suddenly asking, miss. I've spent my life passionate about alchemy, and I'm very sensitive to the combination of herbs. The herbs you requested are typically only used in alchemy, and I can't think of any other purpose for them. I can't figure out what kind of pill you intend to make. If you are indeed an alchemist, could you enlighten me?" Dao Tinh Xue forced a smile, feeling awkward. "You've misunderstood, master. I'm not an alchemist, I just happen to know one. He doesn't like meeting strangers, so he asked me to handle some errands for him." Li Wanbai, still curious, asked further. "Do you happen to have the prescription with you, miss? May I take a look?" Dao Tinh Xue smiled and agreed. "I didn't bring it today, but if you're interested, I can bring the pills to your auction house. We can exchange them for some necessary items. What do you think, master?" Li Wanbai was visibly pleased upon hearing this. "That would be wonderful. In that case, you won't need to make these trips anymore. I can send someone to your residence to collect them. The price is negotiable, whatever amount you deem fair." Dao Tinh Xue smiled. "If that's the case, I'll trouble you then, master." Tong Weiguo escorted Dao Tinh Xue to the door. "Take care, miss. Please do visit often. The master is looking forward to seeing you again." Suddenly, a man appeared behind him. Tong Weiguo was surprised and turned around to see a well-dressed man. He quickly and respectfully greeted him. "Honored guest. You're here, please come in, come in." Bai Li Yuhua glanced at Dao Tinh Xue's departing figure, his eyes deep and thoughtful. At Dao Tinh Xue's new home, in the alchemy room, the alchemist was focused on refining pills. After a while, he proudly gave a thumbs up. "Girl, it's done." Dao Tinh Xue's eyes lit up. The alchemist smiled. "This white pill is a 6th grade detoxification pill. Each of you 3 should take one. The green pill is for your younger brother. He only needs to take it along with the others. As for your father's illness, we'll have to wait until I can borrow your spiritual power for cultivation before I can refine the appropriate medicine. The stronger you become, the faster I can recover, understood, girl?" Dao Tinh Xue smiled gratefully. "Yes, I understand. Thank you, old alchemist." The old alchemist, satisfied, said, No problem, no problem. I'm tired now, you can throw this old man wherever you like." With that, the alchemist returned to Dao Tinh Xue's consciousness. Dao Tinh Xue clenched the pill in her hand and swallowed a white pill. 2 days later, at Dao Tinh Xue's new home, a group of people barged in, kicking down a servant. The servant, bruised and battered, fell to the ground. Dao Wanben, leading his subordinates, coldly laughed at the sight. "A stinking girl that took me so long to find, and she's living here. Even has servants, huh?" The servant trembled in fear at their ferocity. Dao Wanben coldly ordered, "Go tell Dao Tinh Xue that just because she was kicked out of the house doesn't mean that the matter of hitting my sister and mother is over. My father might be easy to dismiss, but I'm not." Hearing the commotion, Dao Tuanyang came out to see what was happening. Upon hearing Dao Wanben's threats, he angrily shouted, "Dao Wanben, what are you doing? Don't cause trouble here." Dao Wanben sneered, glancing at him. "Oh, Tuanyang, dear brother. How have you been? We haven't seen each other in years." Dao Tuanyang gritted his teeth in anger. "Thanks to you, how could I not be well?" Dao Wanben coldly laughed. "Dear brother, don't be in such a rush. I'm not here to fight today. I'm just here to deliver an invitation to a duel. Do you recognize this?" He tossed a small wooden box into Dao Tuanyang's hands. Dao Tuanyang frowned, lightly touching the carving on the box. "This belongs to my mother." Dao Wanben sneered, his voice dripping with malice. "Dear brother, your eyesight is excellent. I happened to see this at a pawn shop. 1. I wanted to help you fulfill your filial duty, and 2. I wanted to make a gift of it. After all, something earned through one's own efforts is more meaningful. Don't you agree?" Dao Tuanyang, furious, gritted his teeth. "What exactly are you trying to say?" Dao Wanben snatched the box back from Dao Tuanyang's hand. 3 days from now, meet me at the Wuji Academy arena. If you win, this will be yours. But if you lose, you and your entire family must leave Qishui City." Dao Tuanyang fumed, his brows furrowing tightly. "You!" Suddenly, another voice rang out. "All right." Dao Tuanyang and Dao Wanben were shocked, astonished as they looked at Dao Tinh Xue, who coldly stepped in. 3 days from now, don't back out. Wan Thiandan anxiously grabbed Dao Tinh Xue's hand. Tinh Xue, why did you accept Dao Wanben's challenge? What if your brother loses? Dao Tinh Xue smiled gently. Mother, don't worry too much. Let me explain everything. Please sit down first, Tuan Yang, you too. Dao Tinh Xue removed the veil from her face. Wan Thiandan was amazed, staring intently. This face, is it real? Am I dreaming? My daughter is this beautiful? Dao Tuan Yang, confused and concerned, asked. Mother, what's going on? Dao Tinh Xue smiled. Nothing to worry about, Tuan Yang, just sit down. Mother, I found the medicine that can detoxify us. Once the poison is removed, not only can your martial arts be restored, but Tuan Yang can also defeat Dao Wanben without any worries. Wan Thiandan, serious, pushed Dao Tinh Xue's hand back. Tinh Xue, that's not urgent. First, tell me the truth, where did you get these pills? Where did you get the money to buy this mansion? If you don't explain clearly, I absolutely won't take them. Dao Tinh Xue tried to hold back her laughter. Yes, I will tell you. Do you remember the day I went to Tianshi Mountain to gather herbs? That day, I met an alchemist on the mountain. These pills were made by him, and he paid me with a few to auction off. The quality of these pills was very high, and they sold for a good price, so I could afford the house. Wan Thiandan quickly waved her hand. You silly girl, don't go bothering others because of me. I ask many questions because I care about you and worry you might suffer. Dao Tinh Xue hugged her mother, smiling. So now our little flower cat madam has agreed to take the medicine, right? Wan Thiandan Loge. You cheeky girl. Dao Tuan Yang, cheerful, responded. Yes, I'll take the medicine right away. The room was filled with joyful laughter. Dao Tinh Xue sat at the table, writing a letter. She then put down the brush and handed the sealed letter to Xiao Cat. Xiao Cat, take this letter to Master Van Bai at the Tong Fong auction house tomorrow. Xiao Cat responded immediately. Yes, miss. Dao Tinh Xue stood by the window, looking outside, narrowing her eyes. Dao Wanben came to cause trouble today. Although he is capable, the fighting strength of the household guards worries me. The road ahead will be more difficult. Perhaps the strong influence of the Eastern auction house can offer some help. I need to find suitable servants. Dao Tinh Xue dressed up beautifully and quickly ran to the courtyard. Dao Tinh Xue was surprised and delighted. Mother, you look so beautiful. Wan Thiandan, dressed elegantly, smiled. Tinh Xue, you're here. Dao Tuan Yang smiled and stepped forward. Mother, sister, I can see now. Wan Thiandan, overwhelmed with emotion, burst into tears. This is wonderful, our suffering days are finally over. Dao Tinh Xue looked at Dao Tuan Yang. Tuan Yang, how is your martial arts progress? Do you have confidence in defeating Dao Wanben? Dao Tuan Yang clenched his fists, full of confidence. Sister, don't worry, I won't lose this time. On the arena stage, the crowd was packed. Down below, Bai Liyuhua and his subordinates had also arrived. One of the subordinates looked at him in confusion and asked, Master, why did we come to watch this match today? Who is participating? I don't even know. And you're not usually one for crowds. Also, why have you been carrying that expression lately? I've noticed it all. Seeing that Bai Liyuhua paid him no mind, the subordinate hurriedly followed. Master, why are you suddenly walking so fast? Wait for me. Tan Mong Jiao, who was walking, suddenly stopped. She turned her head to look at Bai Liyuhua, who had just passed by her. Who is he? She wondered aloud. The maid beside her asked, Miss, what's wrong? Tan Mong Jiao's cheeks turned red. He's so handsome, she quickly turned and followed him. Lan He, let's go after him and see. Lan He, not understanding what was happening, hurried after her. Miss. Bai Liyuhua sat on the second floor, watching the stage below. Suddenly, he noticed a familiar figure standing not far away. Dao Tinh Xue was standing obediently next to Li Wanbai and Dong Weiguo. Bai Liyuhua noticed Dao Tinh Xue. It's her? Dao Tinh Xue felt someone staring at her, looked over in surprise, but when she saw Bai Liyuhua, he blushed and quickly turned his face away. She looked over here. A loud drumbeat sounded, signaling the start. An elderly man with white hair, dressed in dignified attire, stepped out. It was the head of the Wu Ji Academy. He announced in a calm yet powerful voice. The life and death duel is set, injuries or death are your own responsibility. The match begins. Dao Wanben and Dao Tuan Yang step onto the stage, their eyes filled with murderous intent as they stared at each other. Below, the cheers and support were unceasing. Wanben, young master, you can do it. Tuan Yang, young master, we support you. Wow, he's so handsome. The drumbeat sounded again, signaling the official start of the match. Dao Tuanyang squinted his eyes as painful memories of the previous fight flooded back. In that match, Dao Wenben had been beaten severely by him, left defenseless, kneeling on the ground. Dao Wenben, face swollen, gritted his teeth and recalled. Dao Tuanyang, you lost. Suddenly, Dao Wenben used hidden weapons, throwing poison at Dao Tuanyang's eyes. Dao Tuanyang cried out in pain. My eyes. Dao Wenben stood up straight, laughing wickedly. But now, Dao Tuanyang quickly regained his composure, squinting his eyes, determined. This time, I absolutely won't let you have a chance to poison me. The two continued to stand on the stage, their eyes never leaving each other. Dao Wenben laughed viciously and suddenly attacked. Take this. Dao Tuanyang easily dodged to the side, stepping back to avoid the attack. Dao Wenben smiled sinisterly, and the audience below was shocked. A spectator commented. Wow, I didn't expect him to be at the peak of the 6th martial artist level. Dao Tuanyang was injured back then, only at the peak of the 5th martial artist level. Even if he's recovered now, he's still one level below Dao Wenben. It looks like winning will be tough. Dao Wenben continued to leap and attack Dao Tuanyang, but Tuanyang's resolute gaze remained unfazed. He dodged each of his opponent's attacks with ease. He thought to himself. Back then, even though I won against you, I was always criticized by others. Today, I have to rely on my true skills to win and silence those rotten mouths. The audience below was surprised, their mouths agape, intently watching. Dao Wenben sneered coldly. Do you think I won't win? Today, I'll show you what true strength is. In the second-floor tea house, Dao Tinh Xue frowned deeply, closely observing the fight. Tuanyang, you must be all right. On the stage, the fight grew more intense. Dao Tuanyang, sweating heavily, panted and frowned at Dao Wenben. You've underestimated me. With that, he quickly rushed forward, delivering a strong punch to Dao Wenben's chest, then circled behind him. During the days I couldn't see, my senses became sharper than ordinary people. You're in too much of a hurry to win, it's just showy. He lifted his leg and kicked Dao Wenben hard in the back, causing him to fall heavily to the ground, blood spurting from his mouth. Dao Tuanyang continued, raising his fist, and jumped up, using his energy to strike Dao Wenben's chest again. You'll never dream of beating me. A loud bang sounded as Dao Wenben was knocked to the ground. Dao Tuanyang coldly stood up, looking at the defeated Dao Wenben, and calmly said, Because you're not worthy. You've lost. He turned and stepped down from the stage. The head of the Wuji Academy stepped onto the stage, observing the unconscious Dao Wenben, then stood up and declared, The winner is Dao Tuanyang. Below, the crowd cheered and congratulated. Dao Tinh Xue smiled, satisfied, as she looked at Dao Tuanyang on the stage, while Dao Tianheng, furious, clenched his lips in frustration. The audience was thrilled and surprised. One of the spectators outside looked astonished. Who would have thought that this second young master was at the peak of the 6th martial artist level? Tuanyang, young master, you're so handsome. The subordinate beside Bai Liyuhua couldn't hide his excitement. Master, I can't believe he won. Earlier, I almost thought he would lose, but he turned out to be this talented. Bai Liyuhua put down his teacup and smiled. Her younger brother, of course. The sound of hurried footsteps echoed. Tan Mong Jiao, excited and unable to contain her emotions, exclaimed, Finally, I found you. She rushed over, seeing Bai Liyuhua, the handsome young man, standing there. Sixvim teased with a sly smile. Young master, you're paying more and more attention to someone, aren't you? Today, the old man at the pawnshop sent a letter. Bai Liyuhua, annoyed, flicked Shi Yan's forehead. Sixvim cried out, pretending to be hurt. Ouch! As Bai Liyuhua gradually approached, with a slight smile on his lips, Tan Mong Jiao's cheeks turned bright red. She felt a bit nervous, thinking, he will definitely like me. Sixvim hurriedly followed after Bai Liyuhua. Master, in all these years, you've never told me that. Am I not the bodyguard you value the most? Seeing that Bai Liyuhua was now within arm's reach, Tan Mong Jiao gathered her courage and greeted him. Hello, young master. It's our first meeting, I am. But Bai Liyuhua didn't seem to notice her and walked straight past. Tan Mong Jiao felt disheartened and embarrassed. She felt abandoned as Bai Liyuhua's subordinate rushed past her to catch up with him. Master, wait for me. People around covered their mouths, laughing and pointing. Wow, isn't that the number one beauty, Tan Mong Jiao? Just now, that young master didn't even notice her. Ha ha. Seems like even this beauty gets ignored sometimes. Tan Mong Jiao blushed with embarrassment. Just then, her maid, Lan He, hurried over. Lan He, anxious. Miss, I finally found you. Come quickly, young Master Wan Ben has lost. Tan Mong Jiao frowned in surprise. Lost? That fool, let's go see. She turned back, looking toward Dao Tuanyang, who was holding a small red wooden box, approaching Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tuanyang, elated and proud. Sister, I won. I got back mother's belongings. Dao Tinh Xue smiled, stroking her brother's face. Well done, Tuanyang. You're growing up. Bai Liyuhua, displeased, frowned. He and Six Veem hid in a corner, watching the scene. Shi Yan, suspicious, whispered. Young master, aren't you going over there? Are we just going to stand and watch? Bai Liyuhua, embarrassed, coughed. There are too many people right now, it's not appropriate. Six Veem teased, raising an eyebrow. Young master, you should look in the mirror when you say that, your face is all red. Tan Mong Jiao, angry, her face darkened. Dao Tinh Xue, it's you again. Lan He looked at her, worried. Miss, your father is still waiting for us over there. Tan Mong Jiao, furious, bit her lip. She recalled the mocking words of the crowd. Just the daughter of a merchant, and she dares to dream of clinging to the third prince. How shameless. Clearly, the eldest daughter of the Dao family, Tinh Xue, is the prince's rightful fiancée. Even her father said to her, Jiao Jiao, you need to associate more with the people of the Dao family, especially Dao Tinh Xue. Your father is the one in charge of the Dao family. By doing so, our business will have a path to success. Aligning with the Dao family and building a connection with Dao Tinh Xue, isn't that worth it? Frustrated by the idea of having to curry favor with the Dao family for the sake of the family's business, Tan Mong Jiao burst into tears, thinking, why should I have to do this? Returning to the present, her expression twisted with anger. Dao Tinh Xue, why should I have to please a useless girl like you? Why do you get what I want without lifting a finger? Why? Tan Mong Jiao clenched her teeth and channeled power into her palm, muttering, just die already. She then unleashed the power from her hand. Meanwhile, Dao Tinh Xue and Dao Tuanyang were happily chatting, completely unaware of the sneak attack from Tan Mong Jiao. Bai Liyuhua frowned and looked over. At that moment, Dao Tuanyang also noticed and quickly shouted, be careful. Dao Tinh Xue was surprised and looked over just as Bai Liyuhua suddenly grabbed her by the waist, swiftly avoiding a sneak attack from Tan Mong Jiao that struck a large pillar instead. Bai Liyuhua and Dao Tinh Xue fell to the ground together. Dao Tuanyang angrily glared at the smoking pillar, while Tan Mong Jiao, seeing that Dao Tinh Xue had escaped, became even more enraged. Her face twisted in anger as she huffed and turned to leave. Dao Tuanyang, seeing Tan Mong Jiao walking away, clenched his teeth in anger and jumped up to grab her by the arm. So it was you, sneaking around to harm my sister. Tan Mong Jiao glanced at Lan He beside her and then feigned innocence, looking at Dao Tuanyang with wide eyes. Tuanyang, little brother, I don't understand what you're talking about. Please let go of me. Dao Tuanyang's face darkened as he accused, that's right, it was you who struck from the shadows. That day, it was also you who took advantage of my duel with Dao Wan Ben. Tan Mong Jiao feigned a pitiful look, her eyes briming with tears. Tuanyang, little brother, you're hurting me, she whimpered. But Dao Tuanyang was not swayed. This is your doing. You've brought this upon yourself, he declared. In response, Tan Mong Jiao secretly gathered dark energy in her palm and swiftly struck Dao Tuanyang's chest. Caught off guard, he stumbled back several steps, feeling the force of the blow. Seeing Dao Tuanyang injured, Dao Tinh Xue anxiously screamed, Tuanyang. Tan Mong Jiao cast a cruel glance at him, muttering, goodbye, Dao Tuanyang. I hope this poison gives you a quick death. Suddenly, Six Veem appeared in front of her, blocking her path. Where are you going, young lady? No need to rush. It seems there's still some unfinished business to attend to. Why not stay and talk for a while? Dao Tinh Xue, filled with worry, quickly supported Dao Tuanyang. Are you all right? Are you hurt anywhere? She asked with concern. Dao Tuanyang, filled with rage, pointed a trembling finger at Tan Mong Jiao. I'm fine, but... His eyes suddenly widened, and he coughed up a large amount of blood before collapsing unconscious. Panicked, Dao Tinh Xue cried out, Tuanyang! Tuanyang! Just then, Bai Liyuhua appeared behind her. He quickly pressed several pressure points on Dao Tuanyang's body. He's been poisoned, Bai Liyuhua stated grimly. The toxin is potent. I'm afraid there's no time to prepare an antidote. Dao Tinh Xue, filled with fury, stood up with a sharp gaze fixed on Tan Mong Jiao. Tan Mong Jiao pretended not to understand, exclaiming, oh my, what happened to him? Could it be that he was injured during the earlier duel with Wan Ben? Dao Tinh Xue, infuriated, snapped, enough. She marched directly towards Tan Mong Jiao, her voice cold and resolute. I will only say this once, Hand over the antidote immediately, or I will show you no mercy. Feigning ignorance, Tan Mong Jiao replied, Antidote? I don't know what you're talking about. It's not my responsibility. Without patience, Dao Tinh Xue grabbed Tan Mong Jiao by the throat, lifting her off the ground. Tan Mong Jiao's face turned pale. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes and coldly demanded, will you hand it over or not? As she tightened her grip, Tan Mong Jiao was forced to look directly into her fierce gaze. Tan Mong Jiao's face turned ashen. My powers are being absorbed by her. The onlookers, seeing the commotion, spoke up to help her. Hey, it's not related to Miss Tan if your brother is injured. Release her at once. Dao Tinh Xue gave them a cold glare and said, get lost. The surrounding crowd, frightened by her icy stare, recoiled and began to scatter in panic. Ah, she's going to kill Miss Tan. The eldest Miss Dao is going to kill someone. Tan Mong Jiao's face grew paler as Dao Tinh Xue pressed her forcefully onto the ground with a loud thud. I see you've noticed your powers are being absorbed by me. If you don't want to become a cripple, you better hand over the antidote now. I might still give you a chance to live. Tan Mong Jiao gritted her teeth and said, even if you kill me, you won't get the antidote. Your brother will still die. Dao Tinh Xue coldly laughed. Didn't you realize? The reason Tuan Yang could defeat Dao Wan Ben today is because his poison has already been cured. Did you think I wouldn't have found a way to save him? Tan Mong Jiao looked at Dao Tinh Xue in shock. What? Dao Tinh Xue's eyes were cold as she replied, it's just an antidote. I didn't bring it with me today, but I can still cure the poison once I get him home. Tan Mong Jiao's face turned pale with realization. How could she have it? Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes. So, I'll be taking your cultivation then. At this moment, Tan Mong Jiao finally showed signs of fear. Wait. She trembled as she handed over the antidote. Here's the antidote. Dao Tinh Xue took the vial and looked at her coldly. It seems you know your place. Just then, a voice called out, Jiao Jiao. Lan He, along with Tan Cheng Tian and Tan Mong Jiao's mother, rushed over. Tan Cheng Tian, furious, shouted, release my daughter at once. Dao Tinh Xue, lazily holding the antidote, glanced at them. Naturally. After all, I've obtained what I needed. Tan Cheng Tian hurried over to help Tan Mong Jiao up. Jiao, what's wrong? Tan Mong Jiao, trembling and tearful, looked at her father with a pained expression. Father, help me. After speaking, she fainted. Seeing this, Tan Cheng Tian was alarmed. Quickly, take her to Master Hong Jing. Tan Cheng Tian glared angrily at Dao Tinh Xue. Which? Today, I will kill you. He raised his hand to attack. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes. Just as the attack was about to hit her, a powerful force suddenly intervened, breaking Tan Cheng Tian's attack. Tan Cheng Tian, clutching his chest, stepped back a few paces. The headmaster of the Wujing Academy appeared, looking at Tan Cheng Tian with narrowed eyes. Old Master Tan, before you make a move, you should clarify what your daughter has done. Killing someone innocent is not befitting of your status. At that moment, one of Tan Cheng Tian's subordinates arrived, saying, Old Master, the madam requests your presence. She says there's an important matter to discuss. Tan Cheng Tian gritted his teeth and said, let's go. At this moment, Dao Tuan Yang finally regained consciousness. Sister Dao Tinh Xue, he said. Dao Tinh Xue looked at him gently. It's okay now. Let's go home. At the Dao family's main gate, as dusk fell, Dao Tinh Xue and Dao Tuan Yang walked together. Suddenly, Dao Tinh Xue stopped and turned to Dao Tuan Yang with a smile. Tuan Yang, go inside and see mother. I'll get something. Dao Tuan Yang nodded. All right. He went into the courtyard. As Dao Tuan Yang entered, Dao Tinh Xue smiled softly and said, you followed me all the way. Do you want me to repay your life-saving grace? Bai Li Yuhua, holding a letter from Li Wanbai, looked at Dao Tinh Xue and said, Miss, you've misunderstood. I am here on behalf of Master Wanbai. I came today to pay my respects. Dao Tinh Xue carefully opened the letter, remembering how she had previously asked Master Wanbai to recruit skilled martial artists to assist her. It seemed that he had found someone worthy. She looked up at Bai Li Yuhua, contemplating his presence. Bai Li Yuhua remained silent, observing her with a steady gaze. Dao Tinh Xue, stealing a glance at him, thought to herself, it's the right time to recruit skilled workers, especially under the watchful eyes of both the Dao and Tan families. If I can have a master like him train the recruits and supplement their cultivation with the medicinal pills from Alchemist Elder, it would be possible to build a formidable force in a short time. However, the events from before, they might not have been mere coincidences. But right now, I need to focus on resolving the immediate issues. With determination, Dao Tinh Xue quickly bowed and said, very well, then. I will leave everything in your capable hands, sir. She led by Li Yuhua inside. I'll pay you monthly. During this time of martial training, if you don't mind, you can stay at my residence. There's no need to be formal, just call me Tinh Xue. Forgive my curiosity, but what is your cultivation level, sir? Bai Li Yuhua blushed slightly and modestly replied. So her name is Tinh Xue. I am a martial king. Dao Tinh Xue was shocked, her mouth agape. A martial king? Isn't it a waste of talent to work for a family? Bai Li Yuhua turned to her, his voice gentle. No, I came here to teach you. Dao Tinh Xue looked at him in astonishment. Teach me? Sixbeam patted his chest, explaining. That's right, you heard correctly. My master came here to teach you. As for the family, of course, I'll take care of it. Although I'm not as skilled as my master, I'm still a martial artist. I can handle it easily. So? Don't you agree, miss? Dao Tinh Xue bit her lip, smiling gently. No, I agree. Half a month later, at the Tan residence, inside Tan Mong Jiao's room. Tan Mong Jiao angrily threw objects to the floor, furious. Tan Mong Jiao roared, her voice full of hatred. Get out! Lu Hoa knelt down, picking up the broken bowl. At that moment, someone entered the room, frowning at the mess and asking. Kim Ming-hook frowned, his voice stern. What happened? Lu Hoa knelt on the ground, saluting. Greetings, Your Highness, Third Prince. The young lady is still weak and has been staying in her room. Kim Ming-hook quickly approached the large bed, lifting the curtain and looking at Tan Mong Jiao with a heart full of sorrow. Kim Ming-hook, filled with compassion. Jiao Jiao. Tan Mong Jiao sat on the bed, curling up, crying and trembling. Kim Ming-hook sat down beside her, comforting her. Kim Ming-hook, gently. I've already heard from your father. It's just. I wanted to come and see you. Tan Mong Jiao, distraught, cried out in pain. No. Go away. I don't want to see you. Kim Ming-hook, heartbroken, hugged her. Kim Ming-hook, tenderly. Jiao Jiao. Tan Mong Jiao looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. Tan Mong Jiao, sobbing. Look at me now. I've always known. I've always known. Kim Ming-hook raised his hand, gently wiping away her tears at the corners of her eyes. Tan Mong Jiao continued sobbing. She is your fiancée. I shouldn't have foolishly thought of you, but I couldn't control my heart. I? Kim Ming-hook, heartbroken and full of sorrow, held Tan Mong Jiao tightly against his chest. With a determined voice, Kim Ming-hook said. Jiao Jiao, this is not your fault. It's me. I couldn't protect you well. Don't worry, the wounds you suffered today, I will make Dao Tinh Xue pay back tenfold for you. After saying that, he quickly turned and walked out. After Kim Ming-hook left, Tan Mong Jiao coldly spoke. Tan Mong Jiao, in a cold tone. Lan He. Lan He, who was standing nearby, quickly asked. Do you have any instructions, my lady? Tan Mong Jiao smirked coldly. Go tell my father that the matter with the third prince has been dealt with. The plan can begin now. Lan He quickly responded. Yes. At Dao Tinh Xue's residence within Bai Li Yuhua's courtyard, hurried footsteps echoed. Dao Tinh Xue quickly ran through the corridor, and as she passed through the back courtyard, she heard Bai Li Yuhua instructing the servants. She stopped at the door and knocked gently. A calm voice came from inside. Come in. Dao Tinh Xue, holding a book, smiled as she stepped in. Master, I've finished reading this book. Her eyes suddenly narrowed as Bai Li Yuhua unexpectedly attacked, snatching the book. Dao Tinh Xue swiftly dodged to the side. The two faced each other, their eyes sharp, before engaging in a brief exchange of moves, neither willing to give in. After a few moves, they both stopped. Bai Li Yuhua nodded. After reading this book, you've understood the principles well. Dao Tinh Xue scratched her head and gave a sheepish smile. Thanks to your excellent guidance, master. Bai Li Yuhua responded indifferently. Your physical strength still has noticeable shortcomings. It's something that can't be remedied in a short time. It seems that tonight, you must come to my room. Make sure no one knows. Dao Tinh Xue gave an awkward smile, her face suddenly flushing red. Huh? Tonight? She shyly covered her face. That night, in Bai Li Yuhua's room, Dao Tinh Xue opened the door and stepped in. Master? Bai Li Yuhua glanced at her. Follow me. Dao Tinh Xue stole a glance at him, thinking about her master's character, reassuring herself that there was nothing to worry about. The room was filled with steam, and she was surprised to see a large bathtub. Bai Li Yuhua coldly ordered. Take off your clothes and immerse yourself in it. Dao Tinh Xue bashfully covered her chest. Huh? Master? Are you serious? Bai Li Yuhua pulled a screen in place and urged. Hurry up. Dao Tinh Xue approached the large bathtub, glancing at it before reassuring herself. This is for cultivation too, I'll just go for it. She undressed and stepped into the water. Master, why are there flower petals in here? Bai Liyuhua replied coolly. These are bone transformation flowers, which have the effect of refining you mortal bones and enhancing aptitude. Dao Tinh Xue gently touched the water. So that's what they are. Suddenly, her eyes narrowed as she retracted her hand in pain. Ouch, it hurts. Bai Liyuhua frowned and explained. Using bone transformation flowers has miraculous effects, but your body will endure pain like being cut by a knife. If you want to give up? Dao Tinh Xue frowned, resolute. No. I will not give up. She stepped into the large bathtub. Even though the pain contorted her face, Dao Tinh Xue refused to back down. Bai Liyuhua quietly said. Scream if it hurts, I've set up a barrier around here, no one will hear you. Dao Tinh Xue trembled, weakly responding. I'm fine. Bai Liyuhua remained silent, the room filled with steam. As the incense was about to burn out, Bai Liyuhua stood up and stepped in. Dao Tinh Xue had fainted in the bathtub. He gently brushed her hair aside, then lifted her out of the water, placed her on the bed, and carefully covered her with a blanket. Bai Liyuhua lightly kissed her forehead. It's all right now, sleep. In her dream, Dao Tinh Xue found herself naked in a different space. She was startled. Where is this? Her entire body became translucent, as if she had transformed into a fish. After an unknown period of time, Dao Tinh Xue suddenly opened her eyes, finding herself lying on a bed, looking around in surprise. This is Master's room? Her face suddenly turned red. Wait, I remember fainting in the bathtub. So how did I end up on the bed? Dao Tinh Xue hurriedly dressed and shyly ran out of the room. She rushed out without noticing that behind her, a pair of eyes was watching her closely. Sixbeam smirked slyly and glanced at him. Young master, were you too intimate last night, making Bai Liyuhua angry? He responded solemnly. She is not an ordinary woman. Last night, when I entered her realm, her entire body transformed into a translucent misty spirit fish. Sixbeam was shocked, unable to believe it. Misty spirit fish? How is that possible? Normally, when people immerse themselves in the environment, they only transform into a dark-colored carp. The higher the aptitude, the lighter the color, but she became a translucent misty spirit fish. This is unbelievable. In the room, Dao Tinh Xue sat in a daze, her cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Master saw everything. What should I do? Suddenly, a voice called from outside. Miss, someone from the Dongfang Commerce Guild has arrived and requests your presence to discuss an important matter. Dao Tinh Xue responded softly. I understand. The maid led Dao Tinh Xue out of the room. Miss, the carriage for the goods auction is this way, please follow me. But as they approached, she noticed something unusual. Why is the Dongfang family's carriage stopped so far away? The maid behind her smiled coldly. Miss, we're almost there. She suddenly thrust her hand into Dao Tinh Xue's clothes, and finally, Dao Tinh Xue realized the danger. You're not my family's maid. Who are you? Immediately, the maid scattered poison on her. It's too late for you to realize now. Dao Tinh Xue covered her mouth and coughed a few times. This isn't good, this stuff is poisonous. She squinted, spotting a group of assassins surrounding her. This is bad, the enemy has prepared in advance. Among the assassins, a familiar voice rang out. Dao Tinh Xue, at this point, I advise you to be sensible and obediently follow me to apologize to Jiao Jiao. Dao Tinh Xue turned toward the voice and saw Kim Ming-hook coldly staring at her. For the sake of our past, I can spare your life. Dao Tinh Xue frowned at him. The third prince, expending so much effort to deal with a weak woman like me? With so many of you against me, it's highly disadvantageous. She narrowed her eyes. How about? Then, Dao Tinh Xue swiftly charged toward Kim Ming-hook, thinking that in battle, you should always target the leader first. Dao Tinh Xue quickly took down several assassins blocking her way and then struck Kim Ming-hook's chest with a powerful blow, causing him to stumble backward. Suddenly, a sharp blade was pressed against his neck. Kim Ming-hook frowned in anger as he glared at her, saying, You. Dao Tinh Xue ordered. Tell your men to retreat. Kim Ming-hook helplessly shouted. Everyone, fall back. Then, he laughed loudly. Dao Tinh Xue, do you think it ends here? Dao Tinh Xue was wary. What do you mean? He sneered. I mean that this time, my target is not only you but also. Dao Tinh Xue's expression changed. Mother and Tuan Yang. At Dao Tinh Xue's house, Ouyang Keej graciously invited Wan Thian Dan to the manor. Sister-in-law, you must drink this apology wine. After all, we are one family. Dao Tuan Yang frowned in suspicion, while Dao Thian Hung stood by with a gentle smile. Ouyang Keej continued. Please don't hold the past against us, and besides, Tin Xue is waiting at Dao Manor for you and Tuan Yang. Let's go quickly. Wan Thian hesitated, then agreed. If Tin Xue is there too, then let's go. At that moment, Dao Tinh Xue burst through the door, angrily shouting. Someone, close the main gate tightly. The servants hurriedly grabbed weapons and locked the doors. Wan Thian looked at her in shock. Tin Xue. Suddenly, she was struck from behind and knocked out. Ouyang Qij smiled coldly as he watched Wan Thian collapse. Dao Tinh Xue shouted in panic. Mother, over here. Dao Tuan Yang was also being choked and threatened by Dao Thian Hung. Dao Tinh Xue frowned. What do you want? Ouyang Qij snorted coldly. Of course, I want your life. If you dare to come here, I'll kill her. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes, full of determination. Everyone here is loyal to me. If you dare to touch even a hair on my mother or brother, after capturing you, I will skin you, tear out your tendons, and make you pay with your life. Ouyang Qij gritted his teeth, but before he could react, a group of black-clad assassins appeared and dealt with all of Dao Tinh Xue's servants. Seeing each servant fall, Dao Tinh Xue's face darkened. Tan Mongyao sneered as she approached. How do you like this grand gift, Miss Dao? Sixbeam looked at Bai Liyuhua and asked. Young master, what do you think will happen to Miss Dao? I feel she's not someone who easily follows orders, and she's becoming more beautiful, truly a match for you. Bai Liyuhua looked toward the Dao family side manor, his expression suddenly changing. This isn't good, something's happened. The two quickly rushed toward the Dao family. At the Dao family, Dao Tinh Xue was injured, blood dripping from her mouth. She frowned and wiped the blood from the corner of her lips. Tan Mongyao sat on a chair with a group of assassins behind her, smiling sinisterly. The poison has already penetrated your organs. It's a pity you've held on until now. Dao Tinh Xue struggled to stand, smiling faintly. Tan Mongyao, you're just a bully hiding behind numbers. Setting such a grand trap to deal with me, I must be truly blessed. Tan Mongyao gritted her teeth in anger. You. Her face darkened as she curled her lips into a sinister smile. You reminded me that you're not the only one in my plan. An assassin threw the unconscious Dao Tuan Yang and Wan Thian in front of Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes, filled with fury. Tan Mongyao, I will kill you. Tan Mongyao pointed her sword at Dao Tuan Yang, threateningly. I advise you not to move. Dao Tinh Xue took a deep breath. What I did, I will bear. Release my mother and brother. Tan Mongyao wickedly threw a small knife towards Dao Tinh Xue. All right, let's see your resolve. The knife landed at Dao Tinh Xue's feet. She bent down to pick it up and aimed it at her own neck. But just then, the knife suddenly flew out of her hand. Dao Tinh Xue was shocked. How is this possible? How can it fly by itself? Bai Liyuhua appeared in front of her. Tan Mongyao was startled. Why is it you? Dao Tinh Xue weakly mumbled. Senior brother. And then fainted. Bai Liyuhua quickly rushed to her, holding Dao Tinh Xue in his arms. It's all right now, I'm here. Tan Mongyao was stunned by this sight, her face twisted in jealousy. If she dies, Bai Liyuhua will surely like me. With this thought, she ordered the assassins. Kill Dao Tinh Xue. Bai Liyuhua held Dao Tinh Xue in his arms, raised one hand, and a strong wind rose, restraining the assassins. He clenched his fist, and the assassins exploded in midair. Tan Mongjiao's face changed, cold sweat dripping down. She laughed maliciously. Ha ha, don't forget that I still have. But suddenly she was shocked, realizing that Sixbeam was already smiling, holding Wan Thian and Dao Tuan Yang. It's over. Bai Liyuhua, growing impatient, frowned. Get out of my sight. Tan Mongjiao fled in a panic, thinking to herself. Dao Tinh Xue, sooner or later, I'll make sure you are shattered into 100 pieces. As she stumbled out, a luxurious carriage passed by. Inside, a man gently lifted the curtain, smirking. Interesting person, he murmured to himself. Seems like she might be worth a bite after all. In the bedroom, Dao Tinh Xue lay on the bed, dreaming of Bai Liyuhua gently reaching out to her. Dao Tinh Xue suddenly opened her eyes wide, sitting up in surprise. What am I thinking? A letter fell to the ground from her body. Dao Tinh Xue, surprised, picked it up and read. An admission letter from Jiayi Academy? The carriage sped along the street, with Dao Tuan Yang sitting inside, lifting the curtain to look outside. Dao Tinh Xue sat in the corner, her face filled with sorrow. Since that night, her master had left without a word, leaving only an admission letter. She clutched the letter in her hand, wondering. Yuhua, where have you gone? Dao Tuan Yang, sitting beside her, reminded. Sister, we've arrived. Dao Tinh Xue nodded. Yes, let's get off. Dao Tuan Yang carefully helped Dao Tinh Xue up the stairs. Be careful, sister. A familiar voice rang out. Oh, look who it is. Dao Tianyun, with her hands on her hips, coldly and arrogantly looked at the two. The world sure has changed, now even dogs or cats dare to come to Jiayi Academy. Aren't you afraid of being laughed at by others? Dao Tuanyang gritted his teeth in anger. You! Dao Tinh Xue, beside him, remained indifferent. Tuanyang, don't bother with foolish people like him. Ignoring the taunts, Dao Tinh Xue walked away. Dao Tianyun snorted coldly, watching the two leave. Many people quickly ascended the mountain. Teacher Chen smiled and introduced. In the boundless Suthian mountain, although there are many dangerous places, the areas we are heading to are well controlled, so there won't be any attacks by wild beasts. After passing through here, we will see the vast architecture of Jia Hung Academy at Dang Thian Tower. Looking at the towering Dang Thian Tower before them, everyone was amazed. Wow, Dang Thian Tower of Jia Hung Academy is indeed famous. Dao Tinh Xue, standing among the crowd, was equally astonished. This Dang Thian Tower is praised by so many, it truly lives up to its reputation, resembling a part of the heavens. Lim Wuyen suddenly appeared. Everyone, welcome to our Dang Thian Tower. I am Lim Wuyen, a teacher and the chief examiner for this test. This test consists of 2 stages. The first is this Dang Thian Tower. The rules are simple: enter the Dang Thian Tower, and within 1 hour, those who do not pass the 20th floor will be eliminated. The highest record at the academy is 50 floors, so I advise the candidates here to know their limits. Teacher Chen smiled and produced a list. This is the name list for this test. Candidates will enter according to the order, with the number hidden in the palm of each person. Everyone looked at their hands in surprise. I'm number 8, you're number 9. Wow, I'm number 6, how lucky. Lim Wuyen smiled and announced. The test begins, candidates prepare to enter the tower. Everyone responded in unison, while a tall figure stood aside, watching the candidates enter the tower. Kim Ming-hook frowned. Dao Tinh Xue. Then he coldly asked Teacher Chen. Is the task I gave you completed? Teacher Chen smiled wickedly. Rest assured, Your Highness, Dao Tinh Xue's order number has been moved. She definitely won't survive the 2nd floor in Dang Thian Tower. Suddenly, a figure swiftly glided through the crowd. Seeing this woman, everyone was astonished, their eyes lighting up. Wow, that's the top genius of the empire, Ling Zhanglin. It seems that the number 1 spot this year belongs to her, no doubt. She's so beautiful. Dao Tinh Xue furrowed her brows, pressing her lips together. The top genius of the empire? How interesting, she thought to herself. As Dao Tinh Xue took steps up the staircase, she suddenly noticed something was wrong. Her legs grew heavier with each step. It seems there's a special formation in this tower. The force within this formation increases as you ascend. The higher you go, the greater the weight. She looked at her hand and thought, I understand now. The weight in this formation builds up, making it impossible to resist. We must use force against force. Dao Tinh Xue turned to Dao Tuanyang and said, Tuanyang, let's do it this way. Dao Tuanyang nodded in agreement, yes. Dao Tinh Xue smiled, I'll wait for you up ahead. As Dao Tinh Xue continued forward, she suddenly encountered Dao Tianyun. He stood with his arms crossed, a frown of jealousy on his face as he sneered at her. Oh, a reckless and arrogant Dao Tinh Xue, why are you moving as slow as a turtle today? Dao Wanben, standing next to him, arrogantly added, exactly, if you can't do it, just go back home. Don't disgrace this sacred place. Dao Tinh Xue responded with a cold smile, glaring at the two of them. Even if I'm slow, it would only take a moment to crush 2 worthless pieces of trash like you. With that, she quickly soared past the crowd, moving ahead. Dao Tianyun and Dao Wanben were left in shock, their mouths agape and their faces ashen with embarrassment. After some time, the others struggled to ascend the staircase, exhaustion evident in their every move. Some sat down to rest, unable to continue, while others crawled up the stairs, panting heavily. I can't go any further, one of them gasped. This is as far as I can go. On the other side, Lim Wuyen and Elder Chen stood above, observing the crowd. Lim Wuyen was amazed, incredible. Lian Xiong truly lives up to the reputation of a once-in-a-century talent. To break through 40 levels so quickly. Elder Chen nodded in agreement, not bad, not bad. Look! Someone else has broken through. Lim Wuyen exclaimed in surprise, what? Seeing Dao Tinh Xue advancing ahead, Lim Wuyen was delighted and astonished, this is unbelievable. It's been 100 years since we've seen something like this. She hurriedly ran outside, I need to quickly inform the elders. This child will undoubtedly become a core disciple. Elder Chen squinted and snorted coldly, she is indeed a genius, no doubt about it. He began to plot in the shadows, his face showing a sinister resolve, but it's truly a pity. She has offended someone she should not have. Dao Tinh Xue was ascending when suddenly her legs went weak, her face turned pale, and she fell to the ground. The pressure on the 40th floor was indeed formidable, 5 times heavier than the 30th floor. Dao Tinh Xue wiped the sweat from her forehead and then stood up, looking ahead at the stairs. She wondered what kind of pressure awaited on the 50th floor. Her gaze grew more determined. This was an opportunity to test her potential. Resolving to push forward, Dao Tinh Xue began to rise rapidly. Outside, Elder Chen watched in astonishment, unable to believe what he saw. How is this possible? If she continues like this, it will be difficult to explain to the third prince. It seems I have no choice but to take action. Elder Chen started to manipulate the gravity, increasing the weight dramatically. Dao Tinh Xue suddenly felt an immense pressure, as if thousands of pounds were pressing down on her. She gritted her teeth, supporting herself on the ground, and spat out a mouthful of blood. At the 45th floor of the Dang Tian Tower, Dao Tinh Xue gasped for breath, crawling step by step. Her face was drenched in sweat. It's so heavy, it's unbearable. It seems my internal organs are injured. If the 50th floor is any indication, is the pressure on the 45th floor already too extreme? Dao Tinh Xue sat leaning against the wall, panting heavily. She thought to herself, if I continue to force myself like this, reaching the 50th floor is indeed too far-fetched. She narrowed her eyes, determined not to give up. It's only 50 floors. I don't believe it can confine me, Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue wiped the corner of her mouth, her entire body exuding a fierce spirit. The elders watching from outside observed her with growing interest. Seeing Dao Tinh Xue muster the strength to advance, Elder Chen's expression turned grim. How is this possible? This child is truly remarkable. The other elders, equally astonished, nodded in approval. They praised her, noting that her resolve was as steadfast as a rock. To advance despite such challenges, even at the cost of burning one's own life. In my 100 years of life, I have never seen such determination. It's a pity that this child is already weakened and has suffered so much. Even if she breaks through to the 45th floor, recovery seems unlikely. Such a shame. In the tower, Dao Tinh Xue continued her ascent when she suddenly felt a change. She looked at her palms in surprise. What's happening? I feel much lighter. Could it be that I've leveled up? Dao Tinh Xue clenched her fist, her eyes sharpening with determination. Even the heavens are helping me. She soared forward with newfound speed. After an unknown period, a loud clang signaled the end of the trial. Everyone began to exit the tower. Lim Wuyen stepped forward to announce the results. Now, for the results of the first trial, second place, Ling Zhanglin, 45 floors. The crowd gasped in amazement. What? Did I hear that right? The top talent of the empire only placed second? Who could possibly be in first place? Lim Wuyen smiled and declared, first place, Dao Tinh Xue, 51 floors. The crowd was stunned, their mouths agape. My goodness, who is Dao Tinh Xue to achieve such a feat? This is unbelievable. Ling Zhanglin, standing among the crowd, lowered his head in disappointment. Dao Tinh Xue had surpassed 51 floors, a feat no one had expected. The elders smiled and nodded in approval. This child has broken the academy's record. Such talent. We must make her our top disciple. Some elders voiced their dissent. Old man, on what grounds are you challenging me? That's right. I believe the child should be my disciple. This old man must be out of his mind. Come on. I'm not afraid of you. As the elders fought fiercely to claim Dao Tinh Xue as their disciple, Kim Ming-hook was furious. Damn it, how could this be? Is she invincible or something? Chen Laoshi, what is going on? At that moment, a cold voice rang out, such chaos, what kind of display is this? The elders, startled, ceased their actions. An elderly man with white hair and a dignified demeanor flew in, accompanied by another man. The elderly man spoke, Elders, hold on. We still have 2 more trials. Let's wait for the final results before making any decisions. The elders responded respectfully, yes, Director. The director and the masked man landed gracefully. The masked man asked, has the director noticed something? The director and the masked man moved forward. As they passed by Chen Laoshi, the director cast a cold glance at him. Chen Laoshi, your audacity is growing. The academy might not be able to keep you much longer. Chen Laoshi's face turned pale, and he collapsed to the ground. Below, Dao Tinh Xue smiled and patted Dao Tuanyang on the shoulder. It's all right. Reaching the 29th floor is already a great achievement. Don't forget, there are still 2 more trials ahead. I have a lot of confidence in you. Dao Tuanyang smiled and nodded. I'll do my best. Suddenly, he noticed a familiar figure. Is that you, Hua? Dao Tinh Xue looked in the direction he was pointing and, seeing the familiar figure, felt a pang of surprise. At that moment, people around Dao Tinh Xue approached her excitedly. Wow, she must be Dao Tinh Xue, right? It's incredible that she defeated the genius Lang Zhanglin and broke the record. Dao Tinh Xue, feeling uncomfortable, brushed past the crowd coldly. Excuse me, please make way. As she stared at the tall figure, the masked man turned and glanced at her. Dao Tinh Xue's face flushed red. Just then, a man approached her and said, Miss Dao, my name is Kim Min-yoon. May I have the honor of becoming friends with you? Dao Tinh Xue coldly replied, Sorry, I'm not interested in making friends. Please excuse me. Kim Min-yoon chuckled, No problem. Since we are in the same academy, I'm sure we'll have the chance to meet again. Dao Tinh Xue quickly moved forward, looking around anxiously for the familiar figure but failing to find him. She lowered her head in disappointment and sighed. Dao Tuanyang, panting, finally caught up and said, Sister-in-law, I finally caught up. With so many people, how did you still manage to run so fast? He then asked, Have you seen Yu Hua yet? Dao Tinh Xue, looking disappointed, replied, No, I haven't seen him. But it's okay, he's not that important. I just wanted to greet him. The second trial is about to begin, so let's hurry. Inside a spacious room, Lim Huiyan explained the second trial, which involved the illusionary scene formation. As the name suggests, you will enter the illusionary scene of this formation. The scene is extremely realistic, and if your willpower is not strong, you might be overcome by it and lose your sanity. It's not difficult to pass this trial, you only need to persist for half an hour. Do you all understand? The crowd responded in unison, Understood. Lim Huiyan smiled and announced, Then, the second trial begins. Everyone began to take their places in the formation. Dao Tinh Xue sat cross-legged and closed her eyes, entering the illusionary scene. She placed her bare feet on the ground and was astonished by her surroundings. As she looked around, she saw soldiers lying dead on the battlefield and a sky that was red like blood. Confused, she wondered where she was. Suddenly, the corpses began to rise, their faces twisted in anger as they surrounded and attacked her. Dao Tinh Xue coldly laughed, Ha, is this all you've got? She raised her 2 fingers and with a swift motion, shattered the soldiers. As the scene broke apart, Dao Tinh Xue slowly opened her eyes and was amazed by the beautiful scenery before her. In the idyllic meadow, a woman approached her, asking, Princess, are you all right? Did you get hurt? Let me see. The woman picked up a little girl and asked, Nane, why are you here? The woman gently brushed off dust from her clothes and said, Oh, my little princess, where else would I be? The emperor and the empress are waiting for you up ahead. Don't rush so much. At that moment, 2 tall figures approached, waving at the little girl. The beautiful woman beckoned, Come here, darling. Let me see you. The princess looked at the 2 figures with tears streaming down her face. Father, mother, you're not dead, she asked, her voice trembling. Idreamt? I dreamed that both of you were gone, and I was all alone. The nurse gently took the girl's hand and smiled, leading her to the emperor and empress. Don't cry, princess. Everything is fine. We will be together forever, won't we? Fragments of memories flashed through Dao Tinh Xue's mind. Lim Huiyan's serious reminder echoed, if one's willpower was not strong enough, the illusion could dominate and lead to the loss of consciousness. The image of the empress, who had died earlier, reminded her to keep living. Dao Tuanyang, smiling, called out to her, Sister, come back. The little princess, with a solemn voice, said, I'm sorry, nurse, looking confused. The nurse asked, What's wrong, little princess? The girl bowed her head for a moment before raising it again, tears on her face, and with a smile, said, Nurse, you're so beautiful. Everything here is so beautiful, but I can't return anymore, can I? Suddenly, the ground beneath her cracked. The nurse, panicked, tried to grasp the little princess's hand. Princess, little princess. The princess closed her eyes tightly, realizing that she would never be able to return again. Dao Tinh Xue fell to the ground, tears of anguish streaming down her face. Bai Li Yuhua appeared from nowhere, approaching her and gently stroking her hair. It's all right, he said softly. Dao Tinh Xue, feeling desolate, called out to him, Master Bai. Bai Li Yuhua replied gently, Yes, it's me. I'm back now. He helped Dao Tinh Xue to her feet. After leaving, I kept thinking about whether I was truly your master or not. Now I've realized, I want to be more than just your master. Dao Tinh Xue's heart raced. Brother, what are you saying? Bai Li Yuhua extended his hand towards her. Come with me, Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue reached out to place her hand in his, and they clasped hands tightly. Her small face flushed as their lips were about to meet. Suddenly, she snapped back to reality, realizing something was wrong. She quickly pushed the man away, exclaiming, "You're not him. This is still an illusion." Bai Liuhua's face darkened, and he smiled coldly. "Don't you believe me, Tinh Xue? This is indeed an illusion, but it's also the weakest part of your heart. The fact that you can meet me here shows something." Dao Tinh Xue drew a small knife, attacking the man in front of her. "If you must blame someone, blame yourself for your poor acting. My master would never do such things with me." The man, with a sinister smile, observed her. "Why deceive yourself? This is indeed an illusion, but it reveals your deepest vulnerabilities." Dao Tinh Xue, with her fury rising, shouted, "Shut up. You're lying." Her brows furrowed deeply, and her breath came in rapid gasps. She tried to confront the illusion of Bai Liuhua, who stood beside her, observing her every move with an unsettling calmness. As the illusionary Bai Liuhua taunted her, Dao Tinh Xue's frustration boiled over. "Shut up. Just shut up." She stood up, driving the knife into the illusion's chest. Bai Liuhua spat blood, and the wound began to bleed profusely. Despite his injuries, he clung to her. "You can't escape," he said ominously. Lim Wuyen, watching from above, was taken aback. The scene was chaotic. Dao Tinh Xue was surrounded by a massive surge of power within the illusion. Her strength was astonishing, and even the observers were stunned. The headmaster and the elders watched with disbelief. Suddenly, Bai Liuhua vanished and reappeared behind Dao Tinh Xue. Her eyes flew open, and she panted heavily. Confusion and realization struck her. Why is he here? Does this mean I truly have feelings for him? Just then, a familiar voice called out from behind her, "Tinh Xue." Dao Tinh Xue turned in surprise. The voice was unmistakable. Bai Liuhua smiled gently. "It seems you've passed the illusion trial." Overwhelmed, Dao Tinh Xue cried out, "Don't come any closer. Run away." She then fled from the scene. Bai Liuhua, bewildered and confused, watched her leave. Lim Wuyen stood in shock, struggling to comprehend what she had just witnessed. Is it possible? Did someone really break through the illusion trial directly? The event was beyond imagination, a testament to Dao Tinh Xue's remarkable strength and resolve. Lim Wuyen in shock, turning around, "Another one?" Leng Zhanglin calm, confident, "Teacher, did I come in first this time?" Lim Wuyen sighing, regretful, "It's unfortunate. Someone else broke through the formation before you. So, you're second." Leng Zhanglin frowning, doubtful, "Was it Dao Tinh Xue?" Lim Wuyen nodded, confirming, "Yes, it was." The headmaster and elders observed in silence from above. In another corner, Dao Tinh Xue leaned against a large tree, her eyes downcast and sad. Suddenly, a little angel appeared before her. Angel with a clear, stern voice, "No matter what, he's still your master. His feelings are wrong, and you must not have feelings for him either." The demon beside her sneered, looking at her and said. The demon laughed dismissively, "So what if he's your master? Love between a man and a woman is natural. What's the point of so many rigid rules? If you like each other, then be together." The angel retorted, speaking sternly, "What you're suggesting goes against the natural order, it's unjustifiable." The demon, angered, pointed at the angel and shouted, "You're the one who's rigid and unchanging. When Bai Liuhua gets snatched away by someone else, you can sit there and cry." Dao Tinh Xue, feeling annoyed, pressed her hand to her forehead, "This is so troublesome. How am I supposed to face him after this?" At that moment, a voice sounded behind her. Leng Zhanglin spoke coldly, with confidence, "You're Dao Tinh Xue, right?" Dao Tinh Xue turned around, confused, "Huh?" Leng Zhanglin confirmed with determination, "I am Leng Zhanglin. In the third trial, I will definitely take first place." After saying this, she coldly turned around and left, leaving Dao Tinh Xue standing there, puzzled. Moments later, Lim Wuyen stood on a high platform and announced. Lim Wuyen spoke clearly, "The second trial has concluded. A total of 33 candidates will proceed to the next stage. The third trial is a combat test. You will face 50. Suddenly, the headmaster interrupted her. The headmaster, serious and frowning, said, "Teacher Lim, hold on a moment." He looked down, his expression serious. The headmaster, with a firm voice, declared, "You will face 100 ferocious beasts of varying levels." Lim Wuyen and the elders were shocked, their mouths agape, while the candidates below began murmuring. One candidate, surprised, whispered, 100? No way. In previous years, it was always 50 beasts, all of the same level. Why is the difficulty increased this year? The headmaster, with a serious tone, explained, because the candidates this year are exceptional. If there were only 50, it wouldn't be enough to test your true abilities. This is also a sign of respect for your exam results. I hope you can understand. The crowd below continued to murmur in confusion. Another candidate, muttering with dissatisfaction, said, There were geniuses in the exams before, so why didn't they increase the difficulty then? Isn't it because of those two this year, especially that Dao Tinh Xue? Not only did she break the Academy's record, but I heard she also broke through the Huan Jing array. Someone else, looking angry and jealous, spoke up, "It's unfair that we're suffering because of her. If she wasn't here, everything would be fine. She shouldn't even exist." Dao Tinh Xue remained silent, furrowing her brows, thinking, what are these people planning? Lim Wuyen continued to announce, her voice clear, "This trial will not restrict your fighting methods. You can fight freely, whether alone or in groups. The exam will only end when all 100 beasts are killed. Before that, anyone who loses consciousness or surrenders will be disqualified." Dao Tinh Xue frowned, concerned, "With my strength, I can handle 50 beasts, but if it's 100? That's too difficult. Wait, something's not right. This trial seems to be testing our combat ability and endurance. But if I think about it, one could pass the trial by relying on someone else's strength." Dao Tinh Xue looked up at the group, worried, "These people. Surely they won't?" The group in front of her sneered, their eyes filled with schemes. Heh, we just need to lure the beasts toward her. Yes, she deserves to suffer. Who told her to be a genius? Dao Tinh Xue felt helpless, thinking, they're being so obvious. Lim Wuyen led the group forward, announcing loudly, "Now, please proceed to the field ahead. Our trial will begin." Dao Tinh Xue frowned, thinking to herself, for this trial, I must stay extra alert. The situation on the battlefield changes quickly. If something goes wrong, the people around me could get dragged down. It seems like there's only one option. She turned to Dao Tuanyang beside her. Dao Tinh Xue, calm and composed, suggested, "Tuanyang, when the trial starts, we'll act separately. Let me see if you've improved lately, okay?" Dao Tuanyang, confident, agreed, "All right, sounds good." Dao Tinh Xue's eyes burned with determination, "Then it's just this fierce battle left." Leng Zhanglin, silent, walked behind her, observing her, quiet, saying nothing. Lim Wuyen stood on the high platform, announcing, "Lim Wuyen, attention, candidates. The third trial begins now. For safety, the beasts this time are all illusions. But an illusion does not mean their attacks aren't real. I hope you will face them earnestly. The ranking for this round will be based on the number of beasts you kill. If you cannot hold out, you may call for help from a teacher. Of course, asking for protection also means disqualification." The iron cage was lifted, and Lim Wuyen shouted, "The trial begins." Ferocious beasts rushed out of the iron cage, and the people below, terrified, turned pale and scattered in panic. Screams filled the air, "Help! Ah!" The crowd fled with their legs coiled, and one of them, upon seeing Dao Tinh Xue, had a wicked idea. He sat down in front of her, and suddenly a large black bear appeared before Dao Tinh Xue. She squinted, jumped high, and thrust her small blade forcefully into the bear's head. Then she landed on the ground, and the huge black bear disappeared behind her. Dao Tinh Xue breathed a sigh of relief, feeling a bit lighter. But at that moment, a black python appeared beside her. Dao Tinh Xue quickly swung her blade and cut the python in half. About half an hour later, the headmaster and the elders stood above, observing. The elder, astonished, said, "Why are these beasts only attacking from one side? Who is over there?" The headmaster, calm, replied, "If I'm not mistaken, it's the black horse appearing in this assessment." The elder next to him asked, "Why is this happening?" The headmaster, with a thoughtful tone, explained, "The nature of people throughout history is indeed strange. Those at the top cannot bear the cold. Dao Tinh Xue, how will you handle this?" Meanwhile, Dao Tinh Xue, her clothes tattered, was breathing heavily, frowning at the beasts before her, and muttered, "Damn, more and more keep coming. At this rate, I won't be able to hold out. What should I do?" At that moment, a large tiger suddenly jumped up to attack from behind her. Dao Tinh Xue only had a moment to react, her face changing color. Just as the tiger was about to bite her, it was suddenly knocked back. A large ice sword flew in and killed the tiger. Dao Tinh Xue turned around and saw that the person who saved her was Leng Zhanglin. She stood there, her soft hand gripping the sword, coldly looking at her. Dao Tinh Xue, surprised, looked at Leng Zhanglin and said, "You." Leng Zhanglin, coldly standing in front of her, spoke, "I told you before, the first place in this assessment will be mine. There are already too many resources for you." Leng Zhanglin coldly turned away, and Dao Tinh Xue sighed, pursing her lips, and then smiled while mumbling, "Thank you." The two of them moved forward, fiercely fighting the beasts, each going in different directions, neither willing to concede. After a while, a familiar voice announced. Lim Wuyen smiled and announced, "The third assessment is over. Congratulations to all of you for officially joining the Jiahong Academy." Dao Tinh Xue and Leng Zhanglin, both breathing heavily, smiled at each other. Lin Wuyen continued, the first place this time is Leng Zhanglin, the second place is Dao Tinh Xue, and the third place. Leng Zhanglin frowned and glanced at Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue, you are very strong. Dao Tinh Xue smiled and replied, you are too. At this moment, on the second floor, an elder declared loudly. The elder declared, I have decided. I may not need the others, but Dao Tinh Xue must enter my sect. The other elders, not wanting to be outdone, grunted. An elder protested, humph. I don't know who said Dao Tinh Xue's body would be harmed this time, that she is not worth cultivating. And now you come to steal her, really shameless. One elder, frustrated, added, who said otherwise? In my opinion, she should join my sect instead. The headmaster, indifferent, spoke, stop arguing. I have decided to take Dao Tinh Xue as my disciple, as my final disciple. The elders were astonished, unable to believe it, and looked at the headmaster. One elder, confused, asked carefully. Elder 4, surprised, asked, Headmaster, you haven't taken a disciple in 100 years. What talents does Dao Tinh Xue have? Headmaster, please reconsider. The headmaster, seriously, interrupted, no more discussion. I've made up my mind. However, you need not worry. I have taken 2 disciples this time. The other one will be even more worthy. Other elder, in a hurry, asked, who is that? Leng Zhanglin? The headmaster shook his head and replied, no, it is. The scene shifted to the dormitory corridor of the academy. The sky was darkening, and everyone quickly headed back to their dorms. Dao Tinh Xue stopped, turned her head, and looked back. Dao Tuanyang looked at her with confusion. Dao Tuanyang, puzzled, asked, Sister, where has your mind been wandering all this time? Are you looking for someone? Dao Tinh Xue was startled, embarrassed, and quickly made an excuse. Huh? No. No. Who could I be looking for? I don't know anyone here, why are you talking nonsense? Dao Tuanyang remained silent, confused, looking at her. At that moment, a man approached the 2 of them. Kim Minyun smiled and congratulated her. Kim Minyun smiled and congratulated, congratulations, Dao Tinh Xue, for successfully joining Jiahong Academy. Do you still remember me? Dao Tuanyang furrowed his brow and asked, who are you? Kim Minyun smiled and replied, I am the one who brought a gift and, moreover, someone who genuinely wishes to befriend Miss Dao. I wonder if I have the honor of? Dao Tinh Xue, indifferent and uninterested, grasped Dao Tuanyang's hand and walked past him, saying, I have no interest. Tuanyang, let's go. Kim Minyun's smile stiffened as he coldly asked, Miss Dao, you wouldn't want the tragedy that befell the Dao family to repeat itself, would you? Dao Tinh Xue stopped, frowned, and looked at Kim Minyun. What do you mean? Kim Minyun smiled and replied, Miss Dao, don't be tense. I really just came to make friends. I've also prepared a gift for you. If you don't like it, I won't bother you anymore. Late at night, in a room, Master Chen was bound and gagged, thrown into a corner. There were sounds from outside. Master Chen looked fearful, his eyes pleading, with tears welling up. Kim Minyun coldly looked at Master Chen and then turned to Dao Tinh Xue. Miss Dao, what do you think? Do you like this gift? Dao Tinh Xue was surprised, looking at Master Chen bound on the ground. Is this Master Chen? How did he end up here? Kim Minyun smiled and explained. Do you remember the Celestial Tower? To ensure safety, the weight increase on each step of the Celestial Tower is perfectly balanced. There will be no sudden increase in weight. But if someone deliberately does so, it's a different story. Master Chen, terrified, shook his head and made muffled sounds. Kim Minyun coldly glanced at Master Chen. He not only kills invisibly but is also very hard to detect. If the headmaster hadn't discovered it in time, Miss Dao might not have survived. Dao Tinh Xue, realizing the situation and frowning at Master Chen, said, no wonder. But with the reputation of Jiahong Academy, it's impossible for Master Chen alone to dare interfere with the entrance exam unless. Kim Minyun, untying and ungagging Master Chen, smiled and said, Miss Dao, don't be surprised. Let's first see how this drama unfolds. Master Chen, terrified, bowed and begged, 8th Prince, Miss Dao, I was forced into this. It was the 3rd Prince who instructed me to do this. I was just following orders. Your Highness. Dao Tinh Xue, surprised, looked at Kim Minyun. So it was Kim Ming Hook. What devious tactics. Kim Minyun, smiling, handed her a vial of medicine. This is to keep your hands clean. This person has been poisoned by me. Whether to kill him or keep him alive, it's up to you. Dao Tinh Xue took the vial, coldly smiling at Master Chen. Now that everything is exposed, there's no need for me to take action. He won't survive anyway. She threw the vial to the ground. Master Chen hurriedly ran to pick up the antidote. Dao Tinh Xue, frowning and looking at Kim Min-yun, said, "On the contrary, it's the 8th prince who was familiar with this so-called gift from the start. With such elaborate efforts to investigate, Your Highness, just state your intentions directly." Kim Min-yun laughed heartily. "Miss Dao, you are indeed smart. Then I'll be straightforward. I have long disliked this 3rd prince. And it seems Miss Dao also has grievances with him. How about we join forces to get rid of him?" Dao Tinh Xue, coldly looking at Kim Min-yun, said, "I have never done anything against my conscience, but having an additional ally wouldn't be bad." Kim Min-yun smiled, satisfied. "I've achieved my goal, and it's my honor to make the proper greeting." Master Chen, bowing his head and swallowing the pill, thought. Kim Min-yun, coldly looking at Master Chen, added, "Oh, I almost forgot. The antidote is fake. Don't waste your efforts." Master Chen, horrified and realizing the truth, collapsed on the ground, lifeless. Kim Min-yun stepped outside, coldly ignoring Master Chen. In the academy dormitory, Dao Tinh Xue, sitting by the window, looking out, felt tired and heartbroken. This academy isn't a complete paradise. Everyone has their own motives. And there are enemies I don't even know. I don't want to lose anyone else. She lay down tiredly and fell asleep by the window. After an unknown amount of time, Bai Liyuhua carefully placed a thin blanket over Dao Tinh Xue with a gentle gaze. In the square, the young girls standing below excitedly chatted. "Have you heard? Our academy is about to have a very handsome senior coming." "Oh, are you surprised? Is he more handsome than the 3rd prince?" "Of course. I saw him during the exam. He's hundreds of times more handsome than the 3rd prince." "Who's the 3rd prince anyway?" Dao Tinh Xue, looking around, suddenly heard a voice beside her. Lim Wuyen, standing above, smiling and waving, "Student Dao Tinh Xue, come here quickly. The grand ceremony is about to begin." Dao Tinh Xue, dazed, nodded. "Okay." Lim Wuyen, smiling and announcing, "The grand ceremony officially begins now. Please, the first student of Jia Heng, Dao Tinh Xue, step forward to pay respects and greet the teacher." Suddenly, the dean interrupting Lim Wuyen, "Wait, there's one more person." Dao Tinh Xue astonished, standing dazed. A tall man slowly stepped onto the stage. Seeing the man, everyone gasped in amazement and exclaimed, "Everyone, wow, so handsome. Who is this person?" Dao Tinh Xue seeing Bai Liyuhua, astonished, "Brother." Bai Liyuhua take off his mask, "Master, I'm late." Bai Liyuhua looking at Dao Tinh Xue. Dean looking down, sternly, "I declare here that Bai Liyuhua and Dao Tinh Xue are officially my last disciples today, specially appointed as the head disciples of Jia Heng." Dao Tinh Xue dazed, focusing on Bai Liyuhua beside her. Bai Liyuhua nudging her, reminding, "Bow to the master." Dao Tinh Xue realizing, kneeling and bowing. Lim Wuyen smiling after the ceremony. Now that the ceremony is over, the dean will continue announcing the students. "I want to announce the next item. The training course for the new term will be held 3 days from now. The training location is Flame Mountain, behind Skyend's mountain. All students with martial artists at the 5th level or above in the academy can participate." Lim Wuyen smiling, explaining, "The task this time is for each person to defeat at least one high-level spirit beast. The higher the level, the higher the score." A student raising their hand, asking, "Master, how can we know if the spirit beast we kill is high level? Will there be a specialized teacher to assess it?" Lim Wuyen looking at the student, answering, "No, there will be no professors accompanying you this time. You must rely on your own strength to complete it. To determine the level, you need to obtain a flame demon bone. This is a 2-star flame demon bone, divided into 5 levels. The more dangerous the spirit beast, the higher the level of the bone." Lim Wuyen continuing, "To add some excitement, we have arranged a small competition. The person with the highest score will receive a special gift personally prepared by the dean. Additionally, I recommend that you form teams, it will be easier to obtain the bones that way." Dean coldly, "All right, that's all. 3 days from now, gather at the entrance of Tianjue Mountain for the official examination to begin." Everyone excitedly, replying, "Understood." Dao Tinh Xue quietly, staring at Bai Liyuhua, "Brother, Yuhua, why are you?" Bai Liyuhua not hearing clearly due to the noise, leaning down, "What did you say?" Dao Tinh Xue heart pounding, blushing. Dean calling Bai Liyuhua, "Yuhua, come with me." Bai Liyuhua quickly responding, "Yes." Dao Tinh Xue embarrassed, excited, hugging a pillar and repeatedly banging her head against it. What was I just looking at?" Outside the Jia Heng Academy, Kim Mingyun standing outside, seemingly waiting for someone heard a voice behind him. Kim Minghook showing interest, "Third brother, you really have a taste for things. Kim Mingyun walking over, sarcastically, it's so late and you're still calling me to appreciate the moon. Unfortunately, I'm not as good as third brother, and I don't understand what it means to appreciate the moon. Kim Ming-hook narrowing his eyes, sternly, do you know why I'm looking for you? You've ruined my plan and acted on your own with my people. Eighth brother, you really have some skill. Kim Mingyun laughing heartily, oh, so it's about this. Third brother, don't be angry. If old Master Chen doesn't do his job properly, it's no great loss if he dies. I was just helping you deal with the aftermath. Kim Mingyun remembering something, sneering, oh, by the way, I recently received some very interesting letters. I thought you might be very interested. Kim Ming-hook frowning, worried, letters? What's going on? Kim Mingyun sneering, hasn't third brother noticed what's been missing recently? Kim Ming-hook his face changing color, not good. Could it be him? Kim Ming-hook gritting his teeth, asking, what exactly do you want? Kim Mingyun laughing, happily, ha, don't be in a hurry. Third brother, would you like to make a bet? If you win first place in this training, I will hand over all the correspondence between you and the border army. If you lose, how about the soul rebirth pills from your mother, Madame Xian? Kim Ming-hook angry, grabbing Kim Mingyun by the collar, furious, don't joke around. If you don't hand over the letters right now, don't blame me for using other methods. Kim Mingyun sneering, nonchalantly, I know third brother has hundreds of ways to get the letters. But I'm afraid that the letters might accidentally end up on the emperor's desk. Kim Ming-hook stiffening, gritting his teeth, are you threatening me? Kim Mingyun releasing his grip, looking at Kim Ming-hook, it's just that sometimes it's better to do things by the rules. Third brother, you've always been the smart one. I'm sure you understand this better than I do. Kim Ming-hook gritting his teeth, agreeing, alright, then as you said. I accept the bet. Kim Mingyun smiling with satisfaction, very well. I won't disturb third brother's moon appreciation any longer. Farewell. Kim Mingyun leaving leisurely, a sinister smile on his face, doing things by the rules is not wrong, but if the person who set the rules is no longer around, things become simpler. Dao Tinh Xue standing outside, with a determined look, I have to set off in 3 days. I need to make the most of my time to improve myself. Dao Tinh Xue beginning her practice, her eyes shining brightly. Bai Li Yuhua standing above, watching her intently, smiling, she looks very beautiful today. 6 Vim suddenly appearing behind Bai Li Yuhua, Your Highness, you told me to investigate. Bai Li Yuhua startled, quickly covering 6 Vim's mouth, Dao Tinh Xue hearing the noise, turning around, looking around, suspicious, it seems like I heard 6 Vim's voice. Bai Li Yuhua sweating, quickly covering 6 Vim's mouth and hiding in a corner, don't make noise. 6 Vim folding his hands, apologizing, Your Highness, I didn't mean to. Bai Li Yuhua letting out a sigh, turning around, her anger rising, don't rush, let's find a place to talk slowly. 6 Vim painfully, responding, yes. The man 3 days later, at the gate of Fire Flame Pine Forest, handing each student a soul returning pearl, before we start the training, please take this. It is a soul returning pearl. If you break it, you will return to your current position. The teachers and I will wait for you here. You don't need to force yourselves too much, just know your own limits. Safety is the most important. Dao Tinh Xue looking at the soul returning pearl in her hand, thinking to herself, such an important thing must be kept very carefully. The man raising his hand to announce, alright, the training begins now. He activates the magic formation enveloping everyone, and everyone enters the gate of the Fire Flame Pine Forest one by one. Dao Tinh Xue and Dao Tuanyang entering together, when someone suddenly calls her. Kim Mingyun smiling, running to Dao Tinh Xue, Miss Dao, wait for me. Kim Mingyun smiling, continuing, I heard that a team will be more suitable for this test. Would Miss Dao like to join us? These people are my assistants and their cultivation is also not bad. The people behind him raise their hands and smile at her. Kim Mingyun continuing, if you and Mr. Dao join us, we might even come in first place. Dao Tinh Xue smiling at him, having more people is good. But, one of Kim Mingyun's subordinates hastily speaks up, advising, Your Highness, it might not be appropriate to include a stranger like her in our team. First, not to mention if she is trustworthy or not, but her cultivation might not be enough and could hinder us. Dao Tuanyang gritting his teeth in anger, looking at Kim Mingyun's group, what do you mean? Dao Tinh Xue quickly stopping Dao Tuanyang, Tuanyang, stop scrutinizing. The prince, being a prince, of course has many capable people around him. It is normal to think this way. But if we don't share the same thoughts and are not on the same path, then we will take our leave. She turns and walks away. Kim Mingyun looking at her in confusion, calling after her, Miss Dao, please stop. Miss Dao. Dao Tinh Xue and Dao Tuanyang have walked far away. Kim Minyun, angry, snorts coldly, glaring at his subordinate, "You ruined my big plan again." With that, he angrily leaves to catch up with the two. Dao Tinh Xue walking, suddenly stops, looking at the group ahead moving away. "We should go this way instead." Dao Tuanyang frowning, silent, glancing at the trees and the crowd going in one direction. "Sister, this path is less crowded and we don't even see a low-level spirit beast. We previously obtained some 1-star and 2-star demon bones, but it's still not enough. Wouldn't it be better to take another route?" Dao Tinh Xue with a determined and serious look, "My foolish younger brother, a crowded path doesn't mean it is the best. It's just easier. And regarding spirit beasts, if this path has low-level spirit beasts, then I would rather not go there." Dao Tuanyang alertly turning around at a strange noise. "Who's there?" Dao Tinh Xue coldly laughing, "Eighth Prince, following us the whole way is truly persistent. Your courage is commendable." Kim Minyun laughing lightly, appearing with his subordinates, "Indeed, I can't escape your eyes. However, regarding the choice of this path, our thoughts are the same." Dao Tinh Xue surprised, asking, "Oh? Then if the 8th prince is not bothered, please explain." Kim Minyun seriously analyzing, "Spirit beasts are different from people. Apart from those that live in groups like humans, very few live in clusters. The higher the level of the spirit beast, the clearer its territorial boundaries. Low-level spirit beasts absolutely do not dare to come near. In other words, if you choose this path, the demon bones will at least be 3 stars or higher." Dao Tinh Xue smiling, clapping in praise, "All right, the prince is right. But I seem to remember that weak people like us are not worthy to accompany the prince." Kim Minyun bowing his head, looking straight into Dao Tinh Xue's eyes, "No, no, no, Miss Dao is wrong. Now, we are being shameless and causing trouble for you." Dao Tinh Xue unable to hold back her laughter, "All right then, let's go together." By Li Yuhua hiding in a corner, silently observing her. 6 Veem, confused, asks, "Your Highness, do you really need to secretly protect them?" 6 Veem sighing, helpless, "I know you're embarrassed and don't want to accompany the young lady. You don't know that the one tailing them is quite passionate. His clothes even match mine. He's been following her all the way. If you don't find it annoying, I do. Perhaps I should leave, he keeps blabbering endlessly." By Li Yuhua angry, clenches her fist, and punches Zich Veem in the head. "Stop it right now." Zich Veem screaming, holding his head, "Ah." Kim Ming Hook receiving the letter from the eagle, suddenly smiles wickedly. "Oh, is that so? Heaven is helping me as well. They've gathered together, which saves me some effort. I must go find them." The letter in Kim Ming Hook's hand is suddenly snatched away. Tan Mong Jiao looking at the letter, smiling, "So she's here too." She gently caresses Kim Ming Hook's cheek. "Your Highness, I should also have a share in this game. After all, I have some debts to settle with Miss Dao." Kim Ming Hook holding Tan Mong Jiao's hand, gently kisses it. "Of course. Dao Jiao can do whatever she wants." Tan Mong Jiao clutching the letter tightly, her eyes flashing with malice, "If Tan Mong Jiao can't have a man, then you shouldn't even think about it." The eagle on Kim Ming Hook's shoulder flies away. Tan Mong Jiao's face is filled with unwillingness. Dao Tinh Xue late at night in the forest, gently taking down a fierce beast, holding a 3-star demon bone in her hand, this time, a 3-star demon bone. Kim Mingyun's subordinates arriving and seeing this, can't help but praise, "Wow, well done, Miss Dao. You truly are a deity." Kim Mingyun standing aside, watching the smile on her face with gentle eyes. In the forest, the howl of fierce beasts echoes. Dao Tinh Xue squints, "It's a pack of wolf demons. It seems they were attracted here by the smell of blood from the spirit beast. There seem to be quite a few. Wolf demons usually appear in packs and cooperate with each other very well. Everyone must be careful." A pure white foot gradually steps forward. The large, fierce wolf stands on a rock. Kim Mingyun and his people watch the wolf warily, its eyes red and vicious. Kim Mingyun face changing color, "That's the white illusion wolf king. We're doomed. These aren't ordinary wolf demons. Their strength is hundreds of times stronger than ordinary wolf demons." Dao Tinh Xue serious, "Everyone prepare to retreat to Shengqiu. If we can't fight them off, don't hesitate to retreat immediately." The group responding quickly, "Understood." Everyone begins to form a circular formation, helping each other. The leading wolf king howls, and the pack of wolves starts attacking, "Ah ah." Everyone pushes back the wolves, "Ha, hey." When one wolf falls, another comes. A man standing in the rain laughs wickedly, "He he he, go on, my treasures. Tear them apart, make their blood and flesh yours. Ha ha." By Li Yuhua on a branch, pale, breathing heavily, whoosh. Her breath becomes increasingly rapid as she clenches her teeth. Zich Veem, worried, Goes to Bai Li Yuehua, touches his shoulder. Your Highness, how are you? Bai Li Yuehua weakly pushes Zichvim away. I'm fine. Stay away from me. Zichvim holding his cold hand tightly, looking at Bai Li Yuehua in shock. Wasn't it better before? Why is the cold poison so severe this time? Bai Li Yuehua exhales cold air, weakly says, don't panic. I just took 2 pills. They just haven't taken effect yet. Zichvim tries to comfort him, hurrying to say, all right, then. Your Highness, rest here for a while. I will find a dry place to avoid the rain. Miss Dao should be able to handle it. So Your Highness, please don't move. You mustn't wander around. Zichvim then leaves. Bai Li Yuehua weakly sits against the tree, breathing heavily, cold sweat pouring out, the medicine bottle falls and shatters. The medicine has already been consumed. The next morning, the wolves lie scattered on the ground. Kim Mingyun's men brought also lie on the ground. Sunshine shines into the forest. Dao Tuanyang collapsed to the ground, panting heavily. Finally, the sun is up, and the pack of werewolves has retreated. Kim Mingyun, exhausted, leaned against a tree, his head lowered in silence. Suddenly, a small vial of medicine appeared in front of him. Dao Tinh Xue handed him the vial and frowned, asking, what are you thinking about? Her face was filled with regret as she said, I'm really sorry for not being able to ensure the safety of your 2 friends. Kim Mingyun closed his eyes tightly and said, this isn't your fault. It was their choice to keep fighting, and they just paid the price for that decision. However, I think this pack of werewolves was much more ferocious than the ones we've encountered before. It's almost like they were. Dao Tinh Xue, while bandaging Dao Tuanyang's wound, finished his sentence, it's almost like they were being controlled by someone, right? Kim Mingyun looked at her in surprise, how did you know? Dao Tinh Xue responded coldly, it's just a feeling, I don't have any proof. Anyway, forget about it. Don't think too much, just take the medicine and heal yourself. Kim Mingyun poured a pill out of the vial, smiled, and agreed, all right, let's recover first. This is a level 6 healing pill. He stared at the pill in amazement. Dao Tuanyang took one and nonchalantly said, that's right, my sister made it. Dao Tinh Xue smiled and said, I didn't bring any of the really good healing medicine. This pill can quickly close your wounds, but it won't restore your strength. Just bear with it, Your Highness. Kim Mingyun blushed with embarrassment, even though I'm a prince, this is the first time I've had such medicine. At that moment, one of his close subordinates appeared and reported, Your Highness, I've scouted ahead. There are no signs of wild beasts. We should leave now before the scent of blood attracts any more dangerous creatures. Kim Mingyun nodded, all right, let's move forward. As they all got up to move, Kim Mingyun's subordinate suddenly felt like someone was watching them. He turned around and saw a long-haired man grinning wickedly at them. Heh, it's almost over now. My little pet is ready to play, heh. Elsewhere, at Fire Flame Pine Mountain, Tan Mong Jiao asked Kim Ming-hook, Your Highness, did you receive some bad news? Kim Ming-hook, looking at the letter in his hand, laughed coldly, not at all. I'm just overjoyed. After all these years, my fox-like brother is finally in such a pathetic situation. He lifted Tan Mong Jiao in his arms and laughed gleefully, Jiao, it's almost time. Once I become the crown prince, you will surely be the crown princess. I'll make you the most honorable woman in this world. Tan Mong Jiao's expression turned blank as the arrogant face of Bai Li Yuehua flashed in her mind. The most honorable woman in the world, huh? She forced a smile, sure, as long as it's not him, it doesn't matter who it is. At least this one can give me what I want. Kim Ming-hook grabbed her hand and pulled her along, let's go. We need to witness these final moments and kill those wretched people with our own hands. Meanwhile, Dao Tinh Xue carefully helped Dao Tuanyang walk. Tuanyang, be careful. Dao Tuanyang looked at her helplessly, sister, I'm fine. Stop treating me like a child. I'm an adult now. Dao Tinh Xue covered her mouth and laughed, all right, you're an adult now. Then walk by yourself, but be careful in this dense forest. Dao Tuanyang smiled and tried to keep up with her, don't worry. Suddenly, he missed a step and fell into a pit. Dao Tinh Xue panicked and ran back to him, Tuanyang. Dao Tinh Xue's face turned pale, what is that? Kim Mingyun shouted in alarm, watch out, behind you. A giant serpent appeared behind Dao Tuanyang. His face turned pale, what? The enormous serpent bared its fangs and lunged at him. Dao Tuanyang gritted his teeth and jumped backward as the serpent's head slammed into the ground. Dao Tinh Xue cried out in concern, Tuanyang. Dao Tuanyang coughed twice and quickly reassured her, sister, I'm fine. I can handle this. Dao Tinh Xue ran toward him, let me help you. Kim Mingyun quickly called out to her, wait. If I'm not mistaken, this might be a Thone Thien serpent. It's not just large, its body is venomous, and they usually appear in pairs, one male and one female. Judging by this one size, it's probably the female, which means. At that moment, a strange noise came from behind them, and another massive serpent appeared, hissing at the group. Kim Min-yoon's face grew serious. There must be a male nearby. The giant serpent viciously attacked them, and everyone quickly jumped to avoid its strike. The serpent flicked its tongue, surveying them. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes. We just fought a major battle, and our strength hasn't recovered. If we keep fighting, we'll likely lose or even die. Even if we try to run, it's risky. So our only option is? She raised a gem in her hand, temporarily retreat. Dao Tinh Xue shouted to Dao Tuanyang, prepare to return to castle. We'll regroup later. Dao Tuanyang jumped to avoid another attack from the serpent and responded, got it. As the serpent attacked, everyone swiftly dodged. Dao Tinh Xue suddenly realized, it's a trap. They all grabbed their gems. Dao Tuanyang crushed his gem, and they disappeared before the serpent's eyes. One of Kim Min-yoon's subordinates held his gem, glanced back at Kim Min-yoon, and then suddenly smiled maliciously. He let go of the gem and pretended to panic, shouting, oh no, my return ball. The gem rolled away, and the giant serpent lunged at the subordinate. Kim Min-yoon cursed in anger, damn it. He rushed forward, grabbed the subordinate, and leaped away as the serpent missed its target. The serpent, furious, glared at them. Kim Min-yoon managed to save his subordinate and took cover under a tree. The return ball on the ground slowly began to melt away. Kim Min-yoon frowned, the return gem has been destroyed by the serpent's venom. The subordinate, filled with regret, apologized, I'm sorry, Your Highness. You all go ahead. I'll stay behind. Kim Min-yoon cut him off, there's no time for that. We need to focus on surviving. Dao Tinh Xue ran over and asked, what happened? Is he okay? The subordinate looked at her guiltily, Miss Dao, I'm sorry. I accidentally dropped the return gem. Dao Tinh Xue calmly said, leaving you here is something I cannot do. You don't need to blame yourself anymore. We need to come up with a solution that works for everyone. Just now, as I was leaving, I think I saw a shadow near a tree. On a branch, there was a long-haired man with a sinister smile, saying, kill them all. There will be even more high-quality offerings waiting for you, Your Highness. Hehehe. Suddenly, Dao Tinh Xue leaped up to the branch. The long-haired man turned around in shock, but it was too late. Dao Tinh Xue raised her fist, coldly smiling at him. Finally, I found you, Beast Master. She lifted her leg and kicked the Beast Master, sending him crashing hard to the ground. On the other side, the massive serpent slithered closer, baring its fangs at Kim Min-yoon, but suddenly stopped. Kim Min-yoon pointed at the Beast Master and coldly said, Dao, that's him. He's the one controlling the Thon-Thien serpents. If we capture him, this will all be over. Dao Tinh Xue stood on the branch, looking down at the struggling Beast Master on the ground. She grinned, cracking her knuckles. The Beast Master stood up and burst out laughing, so naive. It seems you've underestimated me and my precious pets. Dao Tinh Xue leaped down from the tree. Still talking tough? The Beast Master raised his clawed hand, sneering at her, then let's see how tough you are. He scratched his arm, and blood oozed from the wound. Suddenly, the massive serpent lunged at Dao Tinh Xue. Her face changed in an instant as the serpent swung its tail, sending her crashing into a tree. Ugh! She spat out a mouthful of blood and collapsed to the ground. The Beast Master approached, raising his claw with a sinister grin. He chuckled, stroking the serpent, such a good child of mine. Kim Min-yoon, full of worry, rushed towards her. Dao, he called out, but before he could reach her, another massive serpent opened its jaws wide and lunged at him. Unable to dodge in time, Kim Min-yoon raised his arm to block the attack. The serpent's bite forced him to stagger back, blood dripping from the wound on his arm. His face turned pale, and cold sweat poured down his brow. A concerned subordinate cried out, Your Highness, you've been poisoned. Kim Min-yoon shouted, stay where you are. He tossed his jade pendant to the subordinate, who caught it in a daze. Drawing his sword with weakened strength, Kim Min-yoon commanded, find a way to return to the city immediately. You must survive. With that, he charged at the serpent. Go, now, he urged. The subordinate, overwhelmed with despair, collapsed to his knees. Your Highness. He gritted his teeth, struggling with the situation, before making a decision. There must be a way. Resolving himself, he stood up and hurried away. I'll find him. I'll beg him for help. In the forest, Yuhua struggled to prop himself up, gasping for breath. After a few moments, he leaped forward and ran quickly ahead. By Li Yuhua was filled with anxiety, realizing that before the rain began, it had masked everything, and he hadn't detected the presence of another's breath. Suddenly, he stopped and looked up at the sky. This isn't good. That is, over by Tinh Xue. Bai Liyuhua furrowed his brows, determined to get there as quickly as possible. Elsewhere, Kim Min-yoon, his entire body injured, collapsed onto the ground, hissing angrily, "Damn it." Meanwhile, Dao Tinh Xue, also injured, sat slumped against a tree, unconscious. The beast master, controlling a large serpent, sneered wickedly, "Compared to prey that doesn't resist, I much prefer those foolish ones struggling like this." Suddenly, a cold voice echoed, "This scene truly exceeds my expectations." Kim Ming-hook and Tan Mong-jiao approached, their gazes icy as they looked at them. "It's been a while, both of you." Kim Min-yoon, lying on the ground, looked up to see Kim Ming-hook approaching, and clenched his teeth in fury. "It's you." Kim Ming-hook crouched down in front of him, smiling with satisfaction. "Eighth brother, this weak and trembling appearance of yours really pains me." Kim Min-yoon spoke in agony, "Kill me." Kim Ming-hook pulled out a pill and shoved it into his mouth. "How could I bear to kill you? Don't worry, third brother will detoxify you right away. You can't die like this, I still have much to say to you." Kim Min-yoon, in pain, grasped his throat. "Humph, what did you make me swallow?" Kim Ming-hook coldly replied, "Of course, it's a detoxification pill, but I added a few other things to it so you can enjoy the sensation of needles stabbing into your bones." Kim Min-yoon lay on the ground, trembling, despicable. Kim Ming-hook stood up straight, smiling maliciously. "If you don't want to live a life worse than death, then hand over those letters now, and I might consider sparing your life." Kim Min-yoon gritted his teeth, glaring at him. "Don't even think about it." Kim Ming-hook, not getting angry, let out a laugh. "No problem, I can patiently listen to you. Men, bring him here." Two of Kim Ming-hook's subordinates dragged Kim Min-yoon's close aide and threw him to the ground. Seeing him, Kim Min-yoon was shocked, his mouth agape. "Why is he?" Kim Ming-hook stepped on the aide's head, coldly saying, "Surprised, aren't you? Honestly, when he came to find me, I was also quite surprised. He actually wanted me to spare you. Ha ha ha. Clearly, he helped me by relaying information to lure you into the den, and now he dares to tell me to stop. Isn't that ridiculous?" The aide lying on the ground began to cry, looking at Kim Min-yoon with guilt. "I'm sorry, Your Highness, I'm sorry." A sharp sword plunged into the aide. Kim Min-yoon stared in shock, eyes wide. Kim Ming-hook, holding the hilt of the sword, smiled wickedly. "A traitor like this, let me help you get rid of him." Kim Min-yoon struggled to get up and shouted loudly, "Kim Ming-hook." Enraged, he charged at Kim Ming-hook. "I'll kill you." Kim Ming-hook lifted his foot and stomped Kim Min-yoon back to the ground. "Don't rush, there's still more drama to unfold." At this moment, the beast tamer and Tan Mong-jiao carried Dao Tinh Xue over. Kim Ming-hook looked at Tan Mong-jiao and asked, "Jiao Jiao, how is that woman?" Tan Mong-jiao frowned and replied, "She's fainted and has no reaction." Kim Ming-hook gently took her hand. "Don't frown. I don't want to see your disappointed face. Although she's fainted, we can wake her up." He smiled wickedly, pulling out a small knife. "A little pain is always a good remedy, isn't it?" Kim Min-yoon, lying on the ground, roared with anger. "Kim Ming-hook, what do you want to do?" Kim Ming-hook sat down in front of Dao Tinh Xue and coldly said, "Let's start with the eyes." Seeing him about to stab Dao Tinh Xue, Kim Min-yoon gritted his teeth and yelled, "Enough. I'll give you what you want." The small knife stopped just short of Dao Tinh Xue's eyes. Kim Ming-hook turned around with a wicked smile. "Oh, is that so?" Dao Tinh Xue, lying on the ground, slowly opened her eyes. Kim Min-yoon, trembling, whispered, "Please, don't touch her." Kim Ming-hook chuckled, "Sounds like a decent choice." Dao Tinh Xue woke up and kicked Kim Ming-hook in the head, causing the small knife in his hand to fall to the ground. Tan Mong-jiao and the beast tamer looked on in shock. Kim Ming-hook fell heavily to the ground, struggling to get up, with a sharp knife pressed against his throat. Dao Tinh Xue coldly looked at him. "Prince, it seems you really enjoy meeting me like this, doesn't it? So, are you and your bitch of a partner not giving up yet?" Kim Ming-hook looked at her in surprise and anger. "You." Tan Mong-jiao's face darkened as she grit her teeth, unwilling to look at her. The beast tamer behind them started to act, directing the giant python to attack Dao Tinh Xue from behind. Suddenly, the giant python halted. "If I were you, I wouldn't act recklessly while my master is in danger." The beast tamer ground his teeth in frustration. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes and pressed the knife against Kim Ming-hook's neck. "Is that so, third prince?" Tan Mong-jiao pretended to be worried and rushed forward. "Your Highness." Kim Ming-hook quickly shouted, "Stop. Don't come any closer. Anyone who disobeys will be executed." Deep in the forest, Dao Tinh Xue supported Kim Min-yoon as they moved forward, with Kim Ming-hook bound tightly being led along. Dao Tinh Xue kept a vigilant eye on their surroundings, noting that no one followed them. It seemed safe here, so they could rest for a while. Kim Min-yoon nodded in agreement. All right. Dao Tinh Xue carefully helped Kim Min-yoon sit down and then, with her hands on her hips, coldly looked at Kim Min-hook. Where is the antidote? Kim Min-hook snorted in anger and turned his head away. Seeing this, Dao Tinh Xue puffed up her cheeks in frustration and kicked him. Hand it over now. She narrowed her eyes at him. Third prince, time is precious. I'd rather not use force against you, but that doesn't mean I don't have other ways to deal with you. Kim Min-hook frowned and smiled, looking at her. Oh? Well, why don't you try and see if I will speak up or not? Dao Tinh Xue was not angry. She rummaged through her belongings and took out a vial of medicine. I'm not foolish, I know that killing you now would mean suicide, and the 8th prince would not survive either, so it wouldn't be satisfying. That's why I've decided to use another method. I'm not skilled in making poisons like Tan Mong Jiao, but when it comes to supplements, I have plenty. This is called Vitality Pill. It's made from extremely rare ingredients, and a level 1 pill can turn a seriously ill person back to health. A level 5 pill can bring someone on the brink of death back to life, and what I have is a level 6 pill, the best in this category. It will continuously supply vital energy. For a young and healthy person like you, using such a supplement is equivalent to using poison. Dao Tinh Xue squinted at him. After taking this, your body will absorb the vital energy frantically until your stomach bursts and your organs spill out. But don't worry, you won't die immediately because the effects of this pill can at least keep you alive for another 3 days and nights. Kim Min-hook's face turned pale as he yelled in anger. You're lying. There's no such pill in the world. Even if there were, aren't you afraid that Kim Min-yoon will die with me? Dao Tinh Xue didn't say much. She directly held his mouth open. If the 3rd prince doesn't believe it, you should try it yourself. Kim Min-hook cried out in fear. Ah. Dao Tinh Xue forced him to open his mouth and coldly said, the 8th prince doesn't need to worry about you. Within 3 days, you'll wish you were dead. I'll prepare the antidote soon and then take him away from here. Kim Min-hook, frightened, struggled with all his strength. Enough. He lowered his head and grit his teeth, saying, the antidote is in the front pocket of my jacket, the white vial. Dao Tinh Xue grinned at him. Thank you, 3rd prince. She quickly retrieved the antidote and helped Kim Min-yoon take it. Kim Min-hook glared angrily at him, trying to loosen the ropes binding him. Dao Tinh Xue sincerely looked at Kim Min-yoon. Thank you, 8th prince. Thank you for giving me a little more time to recover. Now, even if we have to face Kim Min-hook directly, it won't be a problem. But first, we need to ensure you're not in danger. She handed him her teleportation gem. So, you must leave immediately, understand? Kim Min-yoon furrowed his brow and looked at her. No, I can't just leave you here. Dao Tinh Xue smiled. All right. Then let's figure out a way to leave together. Kim Min-hook suddenly appeared behind her. Kim Min-yoon's face changed in an instant, and he shouted, be careful. Behind you. Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes, glanced behind her, and quickly countered by kicking Kim Min-hook in the chest. Kim Min-hook staggered backward. Dao Tinh Xue urgently urged Kim Min-yoon, hurry, go now. Kim Min-yoon frowned deeply. How can this be? Dao Tinh Xue didn't waste any more words with him. Go. She then used magic to crush the gem in Kim Min-yoon's hand. Kim Min-yoon shouted in shock, no. Dao Tinh Xue, injured and supporting herself on the ground, watched as Kim Min-yoon slowly disappeared, his eyes still filled with concern for her. Tinh Xue. Then he vanished completely. Kim Min-hook got up and narrowed his eyes at her. Dao Tinh Xue wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth and coldly smiled at him. Now that the troublesome people are gone, can we have a proper fight? You seem heavy, the effect of the medicine should be wearing off. Seeing her consume the antidote she had planned to give him, Kim Min-hook frowned. Wasn't that antidote supposed to? Dao Tinh Xue casually replied, I was lying to you. If such a miraculous antidote existed, do you think I'd give it to you? Is your brain just for decoration? Kim Min-hook was furious, his anger boiling over. How dare you lead me here? Elsewhere, at the flame-red pine mountain, a large eagle landed on the shoulder of the beast tamer. The beast tamer suddenly smiled coldly. So they were here. He then turned to Tan Mong Jiao and reported, Miss Tan, they've been found. Near Shuiyuan in the east. The 8th prince has returned to the city, while the 3rd prince is engaged in battle with Dao Tinh Xue. Tan Mong Jiao sighed. It seems he's all right. But Dao Tinh Xue still has to settle the debt with us. Don't die before I get there. Tan Mong Jiao then turned and left. Let's go, we'll assist the 3rd prince. 2 large pythons slithered after them. On the other side, a loud noise echoed as branches snapped and scattered through the air. Dao Tinh Xue and Kim Min-hook were locked in a fierce battle, neither willing to back down. Kim Min-hook sneered at her, while Dao Tinh Xue furrowed her brows, gritting her teeth. She was surprised at how quickly his strength had increased in such a short time. It was truly unusual. She leaped forward to attack him, but Kim Ming-hook coldly scoffed and grabbed her wrist. You think you can defeat me with this? Dao Tingxue's expression changed dramatically. This isn't good. Kim Ming-hook raised his other hand, and Dao Tingxue narrowed her eyes. She elbowed him in the neck. Kim Ming-hook, injured, let go of her wrist. She concentrated all her strength into her fist and delivered a powerful blow to Kim Ming-hook's face. He coughed up blood from his mouth and nose, falling backward. Dao Tingxue furrowed her brow and charged at him, thinking, I used 3 times the force in that punch, yet he's still conscious. Is it not strong enough? Dao Tingxue raised her leg, and Kim Ming-hook sneered. Dao Tingxue kicked him hard in the face. Ugh, it hurt so much, like kicking a boulder, she thought. Kim Ming-hook laughed joyfully at Dao Tingxue. Didn't expect this, did you? You finally have your day. Don't be in a hurry, there's even more fun to come. He charged at her quickly. Dao Tingxue gasped in shock, watching him move so fast. Kim Ming-hook, with a sinister grin, raised his fist and struck at Dao Tingxue. She nimbly dodged, and his punch hit the ground forcefully. Dao Tingxue's face changed. How is this possible? His strength has increased 5-fold since before. Kim Ming-hook launched a relentless series of punches and kicks at her. Dao Tingxue struggled to dodge his blows, constantly retreating and then leaping into the air. Kim Ming-hook's punches struck the trunk of a large tree, causing it to break in half. Dao Tingxue jumped down behind Kim Ming-hook. He sneered and pulled out a chain from his chest. Managed to avoid that, did you? Let's see how you handle this. As he revealed a gem on the chain, a massive power emanated from it. Dao Tingxue's eyes widened in shock. The light veil, a legendary divine artifact. How did it end up in his hands? She had heard that not only does it enhance the user's strength and speed, but it also deflects attacks up to 10 times the user's original capacity. Kim Ming-hook grinned malevolently. The gem has another effect you haven't mentioned, he said, as the gem began to glow intensely, enveloping her body. Dao Tingxue gasped in shock, her body paralyzed, unable to move. In the forest, a loud crash echoed as Dao Tingxue was flung backward, crashing into a tree. Finally able to move again, she exhaled deeply and quickly took out a pill, swallowing it hastily. Kim Ming-hook approached her slowly, grabbing her by the hair and yanking her up. I didn't expect you to still be conscious. But it doesn't matter. Now I have all the time I need to play with you, he said. With a powerful throw, he slammed her back onto the ground, causing blood to spurt from her mouth. The effects of the antidote would take some time to kick in, forcing her to endure the situation. Kim Ming-hook froze, his punch halting midair. He stared at Dao Tingxue in shock. What did you say? Dao Tingxue's voice was cold and resigned. I said you're pitiful. I've always wondered why you hate me so much. The engagement has long lost its meaning, and there's no conflict of interests between us. So, it must be Tan Mong Jiao. She struggled to her feet, continuing, from Chen Laoshi to today, you've gone to great lengths setting up this elaborate trap and seeking out the legendary gem. But what's the result? Kim Ming-hook's face darkened. Dao Tingxue's lips curled into a cold smile. If you kill me today, do you think Tan Mong Jiao will love you? Kim Ming-hook clenched his fists, his face contorted with anger. She deserves the best from me. I can give her the best. Why wouldn't she love me? Dao Tingxue looked at him with pity. Stop pretending. You don't know the real answer. Tan Mong Jiao and I grew up together. I understand her well. She chose you not out of love, but because you were the best option available to her at the moment. Kim Ming-hook's anger flared, but his expression was now mixed with confusion and hurt. His frustration and doubt seemed to deepen as he tried to reconcile Dao Tingxue's words with his own feelings. Kim Ming-hook's body trembled with rage as he bared his teeth and roared, "Shut up. Stop talking." Dao Tingxue looked at him with a pitiful smile. Even when a better choice comes along, she will leave you for another's embrace. Kim Ming-hook, his anger escalating, raised his fist threateningly. I said shut up. Dao Tingxue's lips curved into a cold smile as she swung her fist, landing a powerful blow on Kim Ming-hook. He was sent flying backward, blood spewing from his mouth, and crashed heavily to the ground. Dao Tingxue seized his hand and forcefully threw it down. She then delivered a fierce punch to his face, knocking him unconscious. Breathing heavily, Dao Tingxue wiped the blood from her mouth, relieved that the antidote had taken effect just in time. Her body had recovered significantly from its previous state. She knew she had to leave quickly before her condition worsened again. At that moment, a gigantic serpent suddenly appeared and flung Dao Tingxue away. Dao Tingxue, shocked, furrowed her brow. How could it arrive so quickly? Another serpent opened its mouth wide and stuck out its tongue, staring at her. Dao Tingxue was tightly coiled by the serpent and could not move. Injured, she spat out a mouthful of blood. Tan Mong Jiao and the Beast Master stood on the back of another serpent, watching Dao Tinh Xue's struggling figure. Tan Mong Jiao jumped down to the ground, hurried over to Kim Ming Hook, and said, "Your Highness." She pretended to be concerned, quickly helped him up, and placed a pill in his mouth. "Your Highness, wake up." Kim Ming Hook slowly opened his eyes, frowning and whispering, "Jiao Jiao, I'm sorry. I was useless and let her escape." Tan Mong Jiao gently replied, "No, we've captured her." She pointed to Dao Tinh Xue, who was tightly bound by the serpent. "Look." Surprised, Dao Tinh Xue narrowed her eyes, giving a cold smile as she looked at her. "It's truly unexpected, really unexpected. Dao Tinh Xue has gained such attention from Miss Tan, who would go so far as to sacrifice herself to seduce men." Tan Mong Jiao's face darkened, glaring at her in anger. "Well done. Let's see how long you can endure." The giant serpent tightened its grip on Dao Tinh Xue. Dao Tinh Xue screamed in pain. Her face turned pale. Tan Mong Jiao smirked maliciously. "How does it feel not being able to breathe? Is it better to be dead than to live?" At that moment, Bai Liyuhua suddenly appeared. Seeing Dao Tinh Xue in danger, he frowned in anger and attacked the serpent, causing it to freeze into ice and then shatter. Dao Tinh Xue fell to the ground after being freed from the serpent's grip. "Is this a dream?" Weakly, she raised her hand. "Is this an illusion after I die?" Her hand was grabbed by a large, strong hand. Bai Liyuhua held Dao Tinh Xue close, anxiously asking, "Tinh Xue, how are you?" Dao Tinh Xue grasped his hand, feeling the reality from his palm. "No, this isn't a dream, it really is you." She weakly said, "I'm fine, just a bit tired, I." Then she slowly closed her eyes. "Rest a bit?" Her hand fell limply as she lost consciousness.